Are we delivering the cocoa today? The answer is no. It is because starting the year, you've already signed contracts. And the contract you have signed, you are supposed to deliver those contracts before you have cocoa available to sell. What was the price used in determining the cocoa at the time? Was it the price of today? No. It was an average of 2,600. So if anybody just pick the price today and use it as a basis to say that, okay, so use 10,000, use 9,000, clearly the person lack understanding of the market and is making that extrapolation. So let me give you a critical example. I have seen a statement by the minority.
Exactly, I was going to refer
Yes.
to that. They're saying that if it's below 60%,
and they say
it's a
use,
rip-off.
And they say use 10,000. These are people who have had opportunity to associate with Cocoa Board and understand how the system works. When these people had the opportunity to pretend over the board, they knew very well that you don't use spot price to determine the FOB price. And even at the time, they never, in the course of the year, said, no, regardless of what the FOB price achieved, will determine a new price. Because they had used FOB price about 2,900, where during the year, we have seen over 3,600. But you can't force them, because that's not how the system operates. So this is actually a novelty. This is something new. This is something that is actually going to benefit the farmer. So if there are people making these claims, I've heard them. When the price was 3,600, they said use 3,600 to determine the price. When the price they quoted today, they said 10,000.
Yes,
we
10,
should use it. Do you know that just last week, the price dropped from 10,000 to 9,200?
Okay.
So if you had used 10,000, when it dropped to 9,000, you the next week announce a different price. That's not how the market operates.
So are you?
That was the head of public relations, Fifi Boafo for Cocoa Board, speaking to Z News' Regina Bolebote. Moving on, the Electricity Company of Ghana has admitted to facing challenges in distributing power effectively in meeting with the Energy Committee of Parliament and key power stakeholders. Samuel Atachia, chairman of the Energy Committee of Parliament, emphasized the importance of transparency and better planning during the meeting. He pledged that the committee would closely oversee the implementation of a timetable to address these issues. Honorable Atachia said discussions have been positive, and while there are technical challenges such as fuel shortages, the committee is committed to resolving them. He said consumers must be informed about scheduled power outages so that they can plan accordingly. In another story, the National Insurance Commission has called for deeper engagement on upscaling marine insurance in Ghana to better protect businesses in the import sector. The Commission called for national dialogue on marine insurance involving stakeholders in the maritime, finance, and insurance industries. Per the current insurance agreement, most importers hardly know the offshore insurance, and there is clearly a limitation in terms of language and communication. There is a difficulty in filing for claims if there is an eventuality, and in most cases, importers do not know the extent of coverage, making it difficult for importers to get the desired result from the filing of claims. Acting Commissioner of Insurance at the NIC, Mr. Michael Kofiando, explained the difficulty that greets importers with the current low marine insurance traction.
When people import, they give them something they call CIF. Now, CIF means cost, insurance, and freight. It means that the amount you are paying to the owner of the goods includes the cost of the goods, the insurance of the goods, and the transportation cost of the goods. When you do it that way, they do the insurance there for you, okay? But the problem is, do you know which insurance company they did with? If you suffer damage to your goods, how easy will it be for you to make a claim? If you have issues about the insurance, sometimes you don't even have any document on the insurance, okay? So that is the problem when we have CIF, when we import goods.
Mr. Ando stressed the importance of giving real meaning to the Insurance Act, which gives legal backing to insuring imported items in the country. He rallied the general public to get interested in and involved in discussions to promote marine insurance.
Since the time of Kwame Nkrumah, Insurance Act 1965, we have had the statute on our books which says that any import of commercial goods into Ghana must be ensured in Ghana. Of course, apart from protecting the interest of the importers, it is also about the nation. It's just like when we say only Ghanaians must do retail. Okay, it's about the nation as well. So we need to collaborate with all the stakeholders. Why we haven't been able to get traction on that, I believe that the stakeholders need to collaborate. We need to come together and see what is in this for us, what is in this for the nation, and why should we all collaborate to do it. And this is again where I'll count on your support and your effort as journalists to help us to collaborate with all the stakeholders and get this done. This is not about the insurance company, it's not about the NIC, it's about Ghana.
Meanwhile, the National Democratic Congress has requested an emergency inter-party advisory committee meeting at the Electoral Commission to address issues of missing voter registration kits. A statement issued by Dr. Edward Omaneboama, the Director of Elections of the NDC, said the missing voter registration kits, which were in the custody of the EC, was a significant threat, including cyber threats to free and fair and transparent elections. Per the EC's own calendar of activities, an IPAC meeting must have been scheduled on Wednesday, March 27, 2024. The statement said the NDC would also seek answers to the state of the unretrieved biometric verification devices, which were distributed across the country during the December 2023 district-level elections. It assured Ghanaians that every legitimate vote cast would be counted for the NDC to rescue Ghanaians from the current economic challenges. In an interesting development, the police have arrested 9 people from different parts of the country for spreading false stories about their private parts disappearing. In a statement, the police said these rumors caused widespread fear, panic, and even led to attacks on innocent people. But after thorough investigations by the police, including medical checks, it turns out that all the talk about missing private parts was just made up. Reports indicate that 6 of the suspects were caught in Kaswa, 2 in Ashaman, and 1 in Nkoko in the eastern region. They are accused of stirring up trouble with their fake stories, which put everyone on the edge. So far, 5 of them have been taken to court, 3 are in police custody, while 2 got bail. The others are still being investigated by the police. Assistant Commissioner of the Police, Grace Ansa Akrofi, Head of Public Affairs, warned citizens about the dangers of spreading lies that cause chaos and harm innocent people. That is all time will permit for the morning bulletin here on Zed 101.9 FM. Before I leave, a recap of the major stories. Cocoa Board justifies 58.6% increment in producer price of cocoa for the rest of the 2023-2024 crop season as it faults minorities' position on the percentage of increment. ECG admits to having power distribution challenges, and NDC demands emergency IPAC meeting to address missing voter registration kits. I am Saka Abdullahi. Jerry Ham continues with the show.
It's your lifestyle, lurcher, and business radio. It's your lifestyle, lurcher, and business radio.
is the sports news. Yes, we bring you the top trending sports stories over the weekend. Who lost? Manchester United versus Liverpool. What happened? Stay tuned. Tottenham Hotspur were they able to get into the top 4 in the EPL? These are some of the stories I will be bringing to you. That takes us to the top of the hour. 7 at 7 is business news. And then after business news, the segment we call Top Story. What is the top trending story? Cocoa prices have gone up. What does that mean? Who does that? Who does that help in the first place? These are some of the things that we'll be touching on. Then right after that, we bring you the business briefs. It's a new segment. We're giving you an MBA whilst you're going to work in the morning. Yes, that's what business briefs is about. Wisdom in the area of business to help you grow your business. Then that brings us to our main talk segment we call Zed Talk. Today, the financial services industry. We're doing an outlook, an overview of the entire financial services industry. Then that takes us to 8:55. What happens at 8:55? Another segment. We call it Service and Experience, Customer Service and Experience, where we give you tidbits on customer service and how you can create service quality that is sizzling. That will be sizzling. Right after that brings us to 9. And I've told you already, now between the hours of 9 and 10 every workday on the Zed in the Morning show, what is going to happen is that each day has its main subject matter. So yes, today is Monday. What is Monday? Personal Development Mondays, Health and Wellness Tuesdays, Science and Tech Wednesdays, Culture, Arts and Tourism Thursdays, and then on Fridays we do the Business Roundtable. So yes, today is personal growth and development. That is what we're talking about. This is your show, people. This is Zed in the Morning, right here, right now, and the show is airborne. Wonderful people. Mr. Emmanuel Watson and Regina Bolibote. Good morning, for people.
Good morning. How are you today?
Charlie, weekend.
Yeah, we all know the weekend is short.
Yeah, I'm still in the weekend mood. Mr. Watson, I'm sure you were learning.
Oh, no. I'm doing well. Hi.
Okay, I'm good. What is happening? Well, which papers do you have? What are the headlines saying?
All right, let's start with the daily graphic this morning. It says NPP NDC must prioritize public interest. This is coming from speakers who take part in the Your Ghana, My Ghana program. Also on the front page, GTech directs universities to cease SHS satellite campus operations. Government increases cocoa producer prices, 33,120 Ghana cedis per ton and 2,070 Ghana cedis per bag. And then complaint is charged when institutions treat you wrongly. This is coming from the Deputy Commissioner to Citizenry.
Okay, interesting. Mr. Manu Watson.
On page 5 of the new finder, it says, don't yield to external pressures in selecting running mate. Coca to Baumia.
Coca.
Yeah. And then on page 2 of the new finder too, cocoa price up by 58.26%.
Okay.
And then on page 9, Ghana, Italy commit to advancing economic ties. And then on page 8, government to launch performance tracker on Wednesday.
Interesting. I have with me the Ghanaian Times, which says stakeholders hold crunch meeting over energy crisis. And I think the story is on page 8, where it's saying that players in energy sector value chain on Saturday held a crunch meeting. So there are issues. So Times is carrying that as its major headlines. Then also on the front page of the Times, the producer price is still there. Cocoa producer price at 2,070 Ghana cedis effective April 5th. And then Ghana ranked best in governance in West Africa from the World Economic Governance Index report, which we touched on last week.
The Chronicle, no planned demo against Natoshi. It's all politics is coming from the MMDCEs. Ashanti region has a candidate to partner Baumia. This is from Kuka. And then police declare war on criminals, bust fake kidnappers, arrest suspected highway robber, and nine persons over alleged disappearance of genitals.
The Business and Financial Times. Ghana Enterprises Agency grants FDA 5 million Ghana cedis to enhance progressive licensing of MSMEs. And then on their back page, Ruto champions tech integration for after-trade evolution. Shipping on page 2 of the Business and Financial Times, Shippers Authority engage shipping lines to streamline sector. And then, of course, cocoa producer price up by 58%. Page 2, wheat imports to grow by 6%. And then finally on page 2 again, Parliament justifies passport fee hike.
Okay, I have here the Daily Statesman, and the headline story says, Ghana will have free and fair elections, Akufo-Addo assures. And I think he made a statement during a 3-day state visit by the president of Italy, Sergio Mattarella. That's the front page of the Daily Statesman. And then no protest against Natoshi is here as well. And then Coca once again is here. He says Baumia should be firm on VIP nomination, as well as the producer price of cocoa up by 58%.
The Informer. Let's examine their heads. That's Professor Ajimandia urging about those who are putting themselves up to contest the general elections in December.
Okay.
Good governance, Ghana tops all. And a new pricing guidelines, NPA remains focused. It's coming from the authority. Also, Gridco accuses ECG of not observing load management instructions.
Okay.
From the Daily Guide, Nana submits 20 names for Court of Appeal. That story is on page 3. The president has submitted the names of 20 judges to be vetted for Court of Appeal. Ghana's bullet train arrived. The story is on page 6. Cocoa price now 2,070 Ghana cedis. NPP clears 9 to contest in the Ejisu by-election. Story is on page 3. 9 grabbed for spreading false missing pennies news. Story is on page 6.
Here the Ghanaian publisher says MMDC is exposed paid agenda against Toshi, where it's talking about the fact that there's no demo coming anywhere against Toshi, who happens to be Irene Toshi Adolate, the administrator of the district assemblies common fund. Also, on the front page of the Ghanaian publisher, talks about Ghana tops in the governance index. NHIA pays 180 million Ghana cedis claims, and then Ejisu by election, MPP clears Nyantichi and 8 others.
The Daily Dispatch: the best any alliance can do is to push the election to a runoff. That's from Ben Efsin. Abu Sakara confirms Alan will be flag bearer for AFC. And Ghana's good governance praised, first in West Africa, fifth in Africa, and 48th in the world.
The new crusading guide on page 3 and 10. MMDC is denying planned protest against Natoshi. German North NPP parliamentary candidate, Deputy AG, others mourn Sunyani Mahini. Ashanti region is behind, only one person for Baumia VIP, Koka. Farouk Alu Mahama charges Muslims to see themselves as one in humanity. Apologize and retract religious hate comment. Elizabeth Kakai, man to Alan Tremantin.
The Custodian this morning: John Mahama exposed over one student, one tablet campaign. Government to showcase achievements on Wednesday. And Akufo-Addo solicits Italy's support to fight terrorism. Also, on the front page of the Custodian, it says, my government will be business friendly. That is coming from Dr. Baomia Tuguta. Let's go to the Ghanaian Observer this morning. Ghana tops in good governance across West Africa. VP Baumia mourns late Sunyani Manhene, and government to launch performance tracker on Wednesday. So those are some of the top stories on the dailies this morning. Interesting.
In fact, there's one story here that I want us to start with. I mean, it's on page 10 of the New Finder, where the guy says, Mr. Moro Musa, a 33-year-old farmer, has been apprehended by the Tumu police for allegedly stealing cattle in October 2023. But the interesting part of the story is they charged the guy for stealing 60 cattle. And the guy tells the police, no, I stole only 14.
The remaining 46.
No, he didn't steal the remaining 46.
But it's good to set the record straight.
Yeah, he's trying to set the record straight. Charlie, 14, don't come and put big issues on me. But I think the major story that is running through a lot of the papers is the cocoa price up by 58.26%. So it's something that I'm seeing a lot of the papers are capturing. And I think it's also because the minority took a stand on it. So that also made it a lot more like a topical issue. Yeah. And which story do you have there, Mr. Watson?
I think cocoa producer is also
is a big one
the
there.
Leading story, and then the one with coca.
I think this is what I want to start with, Regina. The one that there is a call for checking of people's heads.
Oh, okay. That's coming from Professor Jimindia to the candidates who are putting themselves up for election 2024.
He said they should examine their heads.
It's in the Informer, page 3. Let me just take a bit of that story. So it says, former United Nations Senior Governance Advisor Professor Bafwa Jimindia has called for an examination of the mental faculties, alertness and sound-mindedness of would-be leaders of the country in fulfillment of the 1992 Constitution of Ghana. According to him, by so doing, they will not become a danger to Ghana and the entire society. His call was prompted by some outlandish promises by some of the country's aspiring leaders. And there's a quote here. It says, for instance, the Constitution says if you want to be president, you have to be a citizen not below 40 years and of sane mind. The last requirement, I don't know if we've tested the minds of those who want to seek public office. So that's Professor Ajimandia's take.
First of all, you've heard them so far. Has there been really an outlandish promise made by somebody?
No, but what is outlandish? What do you consider outlandish? Somebody may think is normal.
Yeah, but that's what the professor is saying. He's head outlandish. That's why he's calling for heads to be examined.
Okay, so
I'm wondering what
would be
qualifies as
to ask him what outlandish. But then we shouldn't lose sight of the fact or the import of what he's saying, that you must be of sane mind.
That's what the Constitution says.
Exactly. Yeah, you must be of sane mind. And as electorates, we've always, all the time, just thought about, okay, this person is saying this person is saying that, but is it something that can happen? Is it feasible? Is it something that when you give them the mandate, they can deliver on that. I think we haven't been so conscious in deciding what makes us choose who we vote for. And perhaps that's what he is pointing our attention to.
So what photograph did the informer use to capture his story?
I don't know why you're asking that.
I'm just asking.
It's,
listeners can go and buy the paper.
It's Nana Kwame Bediako cheddar.
He used Cheddar's.
Yes.
Informer used Cheddar's picture.
Exactly.
To add to what the man said.
Exactly.
Yo.
Oh, no, what was your comment on that? Do you have anything to say about that?
No, because I hope he's not talking about the sea to Kumasi. Because the sea to Kumasi is not outlandish. It's very possible. So,
okay.
Yeah. Ima, why are you smiling?
I'm smiling because all along I've been wondering, how would you define sound mind? It's clear in the Constitution that anyone who wants to be president must not be less than 40 years and must be of sound mind. But how do you define sound mind? Is it merely in what they say and promise, or there is more to it?
And I think what he's calling for could be some psychiatric evaluation.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, all of them go to...
Pantine.
Not Pantine. No, the other one. The one rich. the one up in Accra here. Rich. Asylum. Yes, you go there. I'm sure there's a standard evaluation that will determine if you're of a sound mind or not. So all candidates, after you file, go check. You go file, check. In fact, don't even file first. Let's check first. If you're right, then if your mind some way, then we remove you using sound mind. Anyway, that's a good call. If you ask me, that's a good call. That tells the world that we take that seat seriously.
Do we?
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying if we did the evaluation,
okay.
It will be one more feather in the cap of Ghana's democracy to show that we don't joke with these things. We take it seriously. Anybody who wants to govern us must be of a sound mind.
Is there no political risk in that a party chooses their flag bearer, the flag bearer undergoes that evaluation, and doesn't or falls short of that?
It doesn't qualify.
Yeah.
But if you're a party and you're choosing a flag bearer before evaluating their mental health, then that says a lot on you as a party.
Yeah, so probably the check should come when you are selecting at the party level. That's a good call. That's a good call. Yes, Bolly.
Let's talk about the story that runs through a lot of the papers this morning is the cocoa producer price increment.
Okay.
The story is on page 52 of the Daily Graphic. I'll take a bit of that. It says the government has increased the price paid to cocoa farmers at the farm gate to 33,120 Ghana cedis per ton. This marks a 58.26% increase over the 20,928 per ton paid to farmers at the farm gate, also known as the producer price. The Ghana Cocoa Board announced this in a statement issued in Accra last Friday and signed by its chief executive officer, Joseph Boahen Edu. Cocoa Board said the new price, which translates into 2,070 Ghana cedis per bag of 64 kg gross weight, was up from 1,308 Ghana cedis. So those are some of the details of the newly announced farm gate prices for cocoa in Ghana.
But that's a very important move.
Yes, and I'm interested in that for one main reason. So what I'm learning is that usually when the crop season starts, then there is the determination of the price at which farmers will be selling to Cocoa Board at the beginning of the crop season. But then you hardly find that mid-season, there is another determination or another announcement of a farm gate price. And what's happening is because of the global market prices for cocoa that's shot up. You know, I'm told as of March 26, it was selling at $10,000 per ton.
I mean, Mr. Ovizdako will be jumping in bed by this time because he's always been advocating for this, that if the Ghanaian cocoa farmer gets rich, he's just happy. But this is caused by the shortage, right?
Yes. So because there's a shortage, then demand prices are going up.
Yeah, it's a simple demand and supply conversation. Yeah. So if there's a shortage caused by, the drought, caused by disease, whatsoever caused that shortage, it takes the prices up, and our farmers are going to be enjoying.
Yeah. I think from the new finder, there is an addition to the story.
Okay.
Where 2,980 cedis per ton buyer's margin What that means is that the government also approved a review of the buyer's margin to 2,980 cedis per ton for the rest of the 2023-2024 cocoa season. This increase is expected to cushion the LBCs, licensed buyers of cocoa, against the increase in finance cost due to an increase in the producer price of cocoa, which we're discussing.
Yeah. I mean, but you see, the bottom line is this. Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire are holding the chunk of the exports of cocoa.
Yeah, that's true.
So the two countries are now determining these things. And Ivory Coast already increased
by 50%.
Exactly. So it was just expected that Ghanaians, because if you fail to do that, let's not forget that smuggling will happen.
Smuggling is happening either way.
It would happen naturally if they are paying higher here and then here is it's in fact smuggling would take a form of osmosis. You understand what I mean? It will be dragged by the richer conditions on the other side of the border. Yes.
Just wanted to add, I find it weird that Ghana, like you mentioned, Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire are the largest producers of cocoa, but we're not the determinants of how much is selling.
Value.
Yeah,
my favorite word. You don't add value.
We export a lot, but on the cocoa value chain, we get a little of the money. The reason is the cocoa we export has not been processed into a certain level where it has value where the whole world would want. And so we sit here in Ghana, but we import some chocolates from somewhere else. And
you see, in addition to it, per capita consumption of chocolate, we here are the lowest. Meaning what? Meaning we don't eat as much as. In fact, I think that the last time I saw the league table of countries that consume, Switzerland was on top. And Ghana, we don't consume enough here. So it's because I think the mindset had always been, take the beans out. Take the beans out.
And should it always be the beans? I think that has been my argument all along, because if you are taking raw materials, no one really would buy raw materials for a lot of money. It is when
because they are going to add value to it.
It is when you add value to the raw materials that you make margins on it. Otherwise, raw materials is basically raw, and they would have to use it to process it into a final product or a semi-final product. And so Ghanaians should move from merely exporting the beans to processing the beans into chocolate and other cocoa products to be able to make them.
And we have even argued on this platform that one of the things that whenever you hear of add value, there is always this misconception or perception that it must be
something complicated,
some huge factory with planes and robots and all that. But we have said that even if we look at a cottage industry of a sort, where we're just doing a bit of addition to the beans at that level, because and not to mention any brand, I recall some years ago there was a huge craze, especially among corporate Ghana, for the raw bitter cocoa powder. Why? Because all that value addition was milling. So what they were doing was that they were picking the seeds and milling them into powder and just bagging them. And it was a big craze because people understood the health benefits. So that's what we're saying. And a meal is just a meal. I mean, a common nika that is, tweaked to understand these things will do brilliantly in that space. So yes, it is something that we must look at. Adding value, but not necessarily, going for the very big, but at least at the cottage level.
The basic question on the street would be, if you sell millet and if someone sells porridge, who gets a lot of money?
Okay.
Who gets a lot of money?
Oh, the porridge woman.
Yes.
Of course.
And I think that's the whole point. Because if we fail to do something to the cocoa, at all times, the person adding some extra cost to change the raw material into a final product, load some margin onto it. And that is how profit is determined.
Exactly. So
otherwise, the natural resource, when you export them, how do you even charge well? You are not going to really make a lot.
We're talking about cocoa, but then it translates to all the other things that we export as a country. Cashew,
you mean we export in the raw form?
In the raw form, yes. Cashew, soybeans, all that. We need to be mindful of value addition so that we can earn what is necessary on these commodities.
Okay. I mean, what about this story about the performance tracker that government is going to launch on Wednesday? I think it's even on the page 8 of the new finder. That government is putting, in the first place, if you look at the story, what are they defining as the performance tracker? It says government is set to launch the performance tracker platform on Wednesday in a move towards enhancing transparency and accountability in infrastructure development. This innovative initiative aims to address long-standing concerns regarding the accuracy and reliability of information presented about infrastructure projects across the country. I mean, so it's more like government is putting itself out there. Judge us. We said we've built X amount of this or X number of this. You should be able to, track and all that. Accountability and transparency. You think we're doing enough of that? Which is why government is calling for this.
First of all, for me, I don't think the performance of a government is wholly infrastructure. I think it goes beyond that. But this, from the story I've read, is solely on infrastructure. And I think that probably they should look at widening the parameters. Now, the reason they cited is to boost confidence among the citizenry in what government has promised and what government has delivered. And so that we don't also rely on other people saying this and saying that.
But, okay.
You can continue.
Yeah, so just to add, are we pretending that we do not know the real reason why the tracker is being launched?
What's the real reason?
It's for campaign purposes.
Oh.
Yes. No, trust me. So it's 2 points. We've done this, we've done that, we've done that.
Like
you
the Green Book.
See, exactly. You can see for yourself.
This is a digital book.
Thank you. Yeah, because we have the vice president.
Yeah.
You can see. So if you want to debate, please check the facts. The facts are there. Check this tracker. You will see what we've done. But it's interesting, really, and for the NPP to be focused on infrastructure at the moment, because we know the kind of conversations that have gone on concerning infrastructure in previous election years.
Yeah.
But then that sets a good platform for a very interesting campaign season for election 2024. That's what I think.
I think fairly I agree with you to the extent that why now? Mm-hmm. Why wasn't this launched at the beginning of the administration? Because you want to measure your performance. When do you set your KPIs?
At the beginning.
At the beginning. Do you come and set KPIs at the end and say, I'm coming to use it to measure something I have done? Probably if you had set your tracker.
Yeah, the KPIs are in the manifesto.
Good.
So this is an MNE tool.
This is a monitoring and
evaluation tool. Yes, it's an MNE tool.
But you set it.
KPIs are already in the
But
manifesto.
why didn't, it's a tracker. So it is tracking the progress, right, of what you've done.
Yes.
So why didn't you set it at the beginning? Because we've been hearing things. So that all the things we've heard, how are you going to, is it everybody who is going to have access to this tracker to know what is really going on?
Yeah, probably it's going to be an app. You never know. I don't know what form it's going to take. Yeah, but it's going to be a tech-heavy thing. So probably it will be an app. It could be. Let's see. I mean, the launch is going to be telecast live. So
while thinking or reading that story, I thought I remember the government bringing out something similar. I can't remember the exact details.
The first administration.
There was a time when we had to even check the number of toilets they built.
Especially in the north.
I can't remember the exact details, but we're talking about tracker. You've talked about accountability, good governance. Let's bring
transparency.
Yes. Good. Let's bring the story about good governance. Ghana topping
in West Africa.
Across West Africa, and then 5th in Africa, and then 48th globally. And my big question is that a true reflection of what's happening in the country?
I think so.
You think so?
Honestly, I think so.
Yeah, I think these are.
We're talking governance. I mean, and look at the parameters they used.
Okay.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Read some of the parameters they used. I think fairly it's not that bad. Because don't forget where we are sitting. We're sitting in a sub-region which is not doing too well in governance.
Yeah.
So if you are marking you by
regimes,
you might top. Already, pick West Africa. How many countries have undergone coup d'etats? So just by
Mali.
that, we've beaten all those countries already.
Yeah.
Yeah, so within West Africa, I think fairly Ghana.
Well,
is
and I
leading,
also
yeah.
think sometimes when you are in your country, you don't really feel the heat in other people's country. Sometimes when you have, our African neighbors come to Ghana, and the way they commend Ghana for our peace and some of the things, sometimes what peace are they really talking about? Because I'm here, I don't feel peace.
No,
I don't feel peace in relative terms. I'm not
Of
saying
course,
there's
of
no
course,
peace.
yeah.
But it just gives you an impression of what they may be going through in their mother countries.
Yeah, it could be worse somewhere.
Yeah,
so
it
if
could
be
and don't
worse.
forget this, you are being marked against other countries.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, so
relative.
it's relative. So
Okay,
yeah.
Jerry, so as you were talking, I just had this analogy. You're in a class and your best performing student scores 70 out of 100 in the exam. You're in top 10. Your score is 60. But then there's somewhere else, their best performing student is scoring 90, 95. So it's not that are we glorifying mediocrity? I do not know.
How many countries are in the world? How many countries are in the world?
Are we glorifying mediocrity?
No, we're not. And I insist we're not. You know why?
Okay.
Look at our performance globally.
48.
48 out of 195.
But let's,
We're
but let's
not
talk
doing
about
bad.
the indicators.
Let's look at
corruption, perception, rule of law,
Yeah.
press freedom, political
Yes.
rights.
Yes.
And you look at these indicators and tell me that this is a true reflection.
Compared to others.
It is, I think, it is on governance. There are a lot of things in the country's basket. If you want to assess the true performance, I don't think this is a hook, line, sinker of what Ghana reflects. It's on governance and the parameters you've mentioned, rule of law. I think fairly we
That's
are
my
doing
point.
well.
Compared to others.
And I think we did in January or February, we did something on corruption perception index.
Yes.
Around here. And Ghana was not too bad.
No, that Ghana has not improved.
Yes, but we've not been too bad.
We've been stagnant.
You
see,
see,
I didn't say
I
we
get
are
where you're
not
coming
good.
from. You are looking at Ghana as a case study.
No, that's why I said, does it reflect? Is there a reflection of what's happening in the country? Forget about the comparatives. You are in Ghana. Does it reflect? Is it?
I think so. I think so. I think it's fair enough.
Cool.
Because it's a ranking.
Press freedom.
If it's a ranking, then it
Yes,
means
press freedom.
there are relative stats.
In fact, the fact that we could even sit here and talk about press freedom, Charlie, you never know. Elsewhere, there'll be a knock on the door right now, So it might not be paradise yet, but it isn't hell.
We are making some gains.
Yeah, it isn't hell. It might not be paradise yet, but it's
Well, and I also think that this should serve as a basis for us to do better, not to get swollen in the head.
No,
drop
we're not.
the standards. Rather improve it and get to where we desire to get to.
I think Ghanaians, we wouldn't allow any government to get complacent. We wouldn't, because look at us. Even right here in this room, although they say we are 48 out of this, we still say, nah. We demand a lot more from our people. So, yes, okay, why not? Let's pick one last story. Let's pick one last headline, and then let's make way for the sports coming up next.
Well, so the last headline is from the Chronicle. Please declare war on criminals, bust fake kidnappers, arrest suspected highway robber, and 9 persons over alleged disappearance of janitors. I'm interested in the fake kidnapping because of the people involved.
Okay.
Presec, Legon.
Ooh.
You've heard of that story?
The student
They faked it
faking his own kidnap to be able to get money to travel outside. What undue pressure are you putting on your parents? And did you hear the amount? 340,000 Ghana cedis was the ransom amount.
Yeah.
Oh, that amount.
Why would
That
you?
was the amount. And the
put your
parents were able to
parents
pay
through this?
20,000 Ghana cedis.
And they were not satisfied.
Terrible.
I'm wondering what could have gone through his mind when they were planning this. And it's sad.
Yeah, it's good you bring the mind issue up, because when I heard the story, what I thought of, what are these students going through to stage this? Because
But Iman, they want money.
on the regular, why would a child set this up?
Iman, you see, I don't also want this to look like it is a today's people's problem.
Oh, it has existed.
Thank you.
Since the
Not
foundations of
not
the-
necessarily kidnapping, faking kidnapping, but Anyone listening to us who is gone through secondary school in this country would have heard of terrible stories of things that once in a while you hear about some student who has done this. Once in a while, not necessarily this very fake kidnapping, but students always, once in a while, out of the blues, they will come up with something. Too many movies? I don't know. I mean, these days it could even be worse because now they have the movie right in the palm of their hand. So you never know. You never know. These are very important issues that we need to talk about. But parenting, it's not an easy thing. And I can understand what the parents might be going through even now. Because
coming to the realization that this is your own son doing this to you.
Yeah. And you see, one of the things about parenting and for someone who has a teen in the house and then a boy who is running quickly into the teen space, I can tell you that any action or inaction, any misstep by your kid, you mark it directly by your own performance. That for me is where the hurt is. Think about it this way. They're sitting at home and thinking, what did we do wrong? What didn't we give him? What didn't we do for him? I mean, those are the thoughts that will be more torturous for the parents. Those are the thoughts. Not that the boy might be, I don't know. I mean, what are the punishments for this? Is there a jail term or something? The mental torture of a parent sitting at home and saying, did I mess up? Did I do something wrong? Is it my punishment that is being... So those are very... But anyway, thank you so much, colleagues, for coming through. Mr. Emmanuel Watson and Regina Bote was here. They were all here with me trying to go through the news headlines. Coming up, we're doing sports. But before that, let's take a spot of music.
gosh, Kudus, Mapavana from Guyana.
All right, so this is Zed Sports, top of the morning to you. If you are just joining in, it's Zed in the morning. and it's the sports segment hosted by Niakwe, the sportscaster. We are the blockbuster of the weekend, and obviously you know that we've got the lowdown for you right here on Zed Sports. All right, then in our headlines this morning, Dreams FC have beaten Stade Malien on the aggregate to book a very historic semi-final berth in the CAF Confederations Cup. And Kumasi Asante Kotoko also on the local front, ending a 4-game losing streak with a draw against Bechem United, whilst Hearts of Oak lost to 10-man Bibiani Gold Stars at home. The big one on the international front, Manchester United and Liverpool played out a thrilling draw at Old Trafford as the Reds missed a chance to go top of the Premier League table. Kobe Menu in scintillating form in that particular one. We will get into the details. And we start off with the local front, Zed Sports. In our first story, Dreams FC have reached the semi-finals of the CAF Confederations Cup in their debut campaign after overcoming Malian side Stade Malien. The MTN FA Cup holders, of course, came from behind to draw 1-1 in the second leg of their quarter-final at the Baba Yara Stadium against the Malians. Karim Zito's side progressed 3-2 on aggregate after last week's famous win in Mali. Dreams became the first Ghanaian side to reach the semis of the CAF Confederations Cup since Accra Hearts of Oak and Kumasi Asante Kotoko did so back in 2005 in the maiden edition of the competition. Moving on to our next story. Still on the local front, Kumasi Asante Kotoko brought an end to their losing streak in the Ghana Premier League following their draw against Bechem United. Prosper Nateogum's men had lost their previous 4 games in the league until the tie against Bechem. Kotoko haven't won any of their last 6 visits to Bechem after the latest stalemate. Here is what Kotoko's assistant coach David Oklu had to say after the game.
I think it's a game we fought very hard for this draw. We carried a game plan, and you could see the boys were very determined, very disciplined, and we had a point. Kudos to them. I think, no. To me, our previous games, we played very well, but we couldn't score. If you want. To me, the previous games, we played very well, better than this, but we couldn't score. And with this game, the only difference is they were very disciplined defensively.
That was Kotoko's assistant coach David Oklu speaking after the game. And moving on to our next story, still in the Ghana Premier League, Bibiani Gold Stars dealt Hearts of Oak another blow, securing a 1-0 victory at the Accra Sports Stadium last night with Mauli Wayo's decisive goal. Wayo took advantage of a mistake by the goalkeeper in the 79th minute to seal the deal and take all 3 points for the visitors. Speaking in his post-match conference, this is what Hearts coach Abubakar Ouattara had to say. All right, so unfortunately, my producer is unable to get the audio from Coach Ouattara, but we will get it to you in due course. And now it's time to transition to the international front. Lots of stories making the rounds. And our very first one, Iñaki Williams and Athletic Bilbao emerged champions of the 2023-24 Copa del Rey on Saturday evening. The Basque club sealed the win on penalties after playing out a 1-1 stalemate in 120 minutes of action in the final. Iñaki played the first 90 minutes of the game before taking off prior to extra time. The triumph ends a 40-year drought without winning a proper major trophy for the club. Congratulations are in order to Athletic Club de Bilbao. And shifting focus from Spain to England, Pep Guardiola heralded Kevin De Bruyne as one of the best players in Manchester City's history after seeing him score twice and set up another in their 4-2 win at the Selhurst Park over the weekend. City were sloppy in the first half and behind to a goal from Jean-Philippe Mateta when De Bruyne stepped up to curl in a beautiful equalizer.
Exceptional player. So what they have done for this club is unbelievable. But yeah, it's unbelievable. So Kevin isn't. What can I say? So the consistency for many years, all the titles won. So really good. Well, after Arsenal we are out, and now looks like we are still in. So 7 games left. So we have to do our job. A tough game to play. It's always been difficult. Crystal Palace, and today Kevin won the game. So with us it's 2 goals, especially 1-1, and we had moments, but yeah, we make mistakes. First half we give away the first goal, but it's what it is.
All right, so that was Pep Guardiola, gaffer of Manchester City, who are in a 3-way title race at the moment against Liverpool and Arsenal. Moving to the camp of Arsenal, Mikel Arteta says Kai Havertz is having a huge impact on the Arsenal team after the North London club continued their Premier League title bid with a 3-0 win over Brighton at the American Express Stadium. Havertz scored his side's second goal in the win over Brighton that sent them back to the top of the table, taking his tally to 10 goals in all competitions this season. Here is a word from Mikel Arteta post-match conference.
Well, he's certainly having a huge impact in the team. I think his overall performances, they've been really good. And now his numbers in terms of goal contributions are really high. And he needs to maintain that level. I think the understanding between the attacking players today was superb. I think they had real purpose and connection and a lot of clarity where to attack against them. And we created many chances. Yes, really happy, really proud of the boys. I think they put a big performance to beat this great Brighton side. They haven't lost yet since August, and that tells you the difficulty of the task, but I think we were really good today.
All right, so that was Mikel Arteta. Now switching focus to the last of the trio in the race for the Champions League spots and the Premier League title. Liverpool Virgil van Dijk expressed his disappointment following Liverpool's draw against Manchester United, stating that the result feels like a loss. Liverpool and Man United battled to a 2-2 stalemate at Old Trafford, with Mohamed Salah's late penalty securing a point for the visitors in the Premier League encounter.
Obviously, it's all our own fault again. You know, we should have been 2-0 up at least at half-time and create dangerous moments. We had him under control, and you know, it's just a shame, you know, and definitely feels like a loss at this point. Obviously, because we were wasting our chances, we give them a lifeline, and you know, unfortunately, individual mistakes can happen in the game, but there was still so much time to put it right, but we were in a rush. We were losing too many balls and challenges in the midfield.
All right, so the slayer of Liverpool at Old Trafford, Erik ten Hag, also making the headlines. He claimed that Manchester United are improving with every passing game, as he felt proud after the team's draw against Liverpool. The Red Devils are currently 11 points behind Spurs and Aston Villa, who are 4th and 5th in the league respectively. Here's a cue from the gaffer of Manchester United, Erik ten Hag.
Oh, we dropped 2 points when you are in winning position. And yeah, it's true. First half, it was tough, but I thought, and also the team had the feeling we were in the game. We were well organized. Yeah, they dominated the game. Yeah, they created some chances. We didn't create so many chances, but it was just slight detail. Why not? And it was about winning duels in decisive moments, in the half spaces, up front. And when you win them, and that is what we did second half, then you create chances. And so we make the second goal.
All right, so that was it from Eric Ten Hag, the gaffer of Manchester United. Let's take a look at some Premier League results over the weekend. At the Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace lost 2-4 to Manchester City. Aston Villa and Brentford played to a thrilling 3-3 draw. Unai Emery's side having to come from 2 goals down in that particular one. And at the Amex, Brighton and Hove Albion could not withstand the charge of Arsenal towards the title. It ended 3-0 in favour of their away side. Manchester United and Liverpool, as I mentioned earlier, played to a 2-2 draw. And Sheffield United also clawing back late into stoppage time against Chelsea. 2-2, that particular one ended. And then at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Spurs, Ange Postecoglou won 3-1 against Nottingham Forest. And it was a thriller in the Premier League. And as the season comes to a conclusion, it's getting heated all around Europe. We will bring you lots of updates from around the European front as well as the local front. And so, it's a wrap. We draw the curtains down on Zed Sports on Zed in the morning. My name is Niakwe, the Sportscaster. It's a brand new week, and it promises to be a very enthralling one. We'll be back tomorrow with a bigger, more explosive edition of Zed Sports. My name is Niakwe, the Sportscaster. And remember, my message is always simple but golden. As you go through the days, whatever happens, do not count the days. Make the days count.
Here's Metzer, this is positive. Williams, Kudus, the Korean joy did not last for long.
Oh my gosh, Kudus, the piranha from Guyana.
Hello, welcome to the business news segment of Zed in the morning. I am Saka Abdullahi. Coming up, NIC urges insuring public to patronize complaint management system. Cocoa Board justifies 58.6% increment in producer price of cocoa for the rest of the 2023-2024 crop season as it faults minorities' position on the percentage of increment, and the cedi depreciates, treasury bills demand rises, and stock market records decline. To the major stories. The National Insurance Commission, the NIC, has appealed to the insuring public to make use of the recently launched complaints management system so their grievances can be attended to with dispatch. The Commission, as part of its mandate to enhance fair customer treatment, has developed a comprehensive complaints management system to automate the complaints handling procedure of the Commission. The online system is also meant to enhance client satisfaction in the insurance industry, which is a major determinant in the growth and development of the insurance business in Ghana. Speaking to journalists at the end of the NIC's annual media seminar in Elmina, over the weekend, Acting Commissioner of the Commission, Mr. Michael Kofi Andor, reiterated calls for customers to make use of the new complaints management system.
If you have a complaint against any insurance company, insurance broker, or if you have any complaint concerning insurance, you don't need to come to our office, you don't need to travel. If you just have access to the internet, you can just go to niccomplainthub.com and you can upload your complaint and we will get back to you.
Though the system had since its recent launch received some complaints, the Commission is counting on the media to support the project to achieve its objectives.
There's some traffic on it, but it's not at the level where we want it. Of course, as you know, it was launched just a few days ago. So what we are doing now is the education phase. We are still educating people about it, so they will get to know about it and use it.
That was Michael Kofi Andor. Moving on, the Ghana Cocoa Board has justified the recently announced farm gate price for cocoa in the country. On April 5, Cocoa Board increased the producer price of cocoa by 58.6% from 20,920 Ghana cedis per ton to 33,120 Ghana cedis. The figure translates into a 2,070 Ghana cedis per bag of 64 kilograms. The minority in Parliament reacted to the announcement, saying it is a rip-off to the ordinary cocoa farmer. But speaking to Zed News, head of public relations at Cocoa Board, Fifi Boafo, said the minority's position shows a lack of understanding on how cocoa prices work.
The prices we see today is not benefits coming in today. Because the price you see today is the price you realize by delivering cocoa today. Okay. Are we delivering the cocoa today? The answer is no. Why are we not delivering the cocoa today? It is because starting the year, you've already signed contracts. And the contract you have signed, you are supposed to deliver those contracts before you have cocoa available to sell. What was the price used in determining the cocoa at the time? Was it the price of today? No. It was an average of 2,600. So if anybody just picked the price today and use it as a basis to say that, okay, so use 10,000, use 9,000. Clearly, the person lacks understanding of the market and is making that extrapolation. So let me give you a critical example. I have seen a statement by the minority.
Exactly, I was going to refer
Yes.
to that. They're saying that
And
if
they say
it's
use
below
10
60%,
and they say
it's a
use,
rip-off.
and they say use 10,000. When these people had the opportunity to pretend over the board, they knew very well that you don't use spot price to determine the FOB price. And even at the time, they never, in the course of the year, said, no. Regardless of what the FOB price achieved, will determine a new price. Because they had used FOB price about 2,900, where during the year, we have seen over 3,600. But you can't force them, because that's not how the system operates. So this is actually a novelty. This is something new. This is something that is actually going to benefit the farmer. And there are people making these claims. I've heard them. The price they quoted today, they said 10,000.
Yes,
we should use it. Do you know that just last week, the price dropped from 10,000 to 9,200?
Okay.
So if you used 10,000, when it dropped to 9,000, the next week announce a different price? That's not how the market operates.
You heard the head of PR for Cocoa Board, Fifi Boafo, speaking to Zed News' Regina Bolebote. Last week witnessed a further depreciation of the cedi against major trading currencies, coupled with an increase in demand for treasury bills, while the stock market experienced a notable decline. Despite these fluctuations, the government managed to raise 2.5 billion cedis through treasury bills, although it was undersubscribed by 8%. This underscores the prevailing economic challenges and investor sentiments. Tessa Capital, in its recap of the financial markets, highlights these trends.
Welcome to a recap of the markets, brought to you by Tessa Capital Limited. Demand for treasury bills increased in the week under review as the government raised 2.5 billion Ghana cedis last Friday. However, the government fell short of its target as the bills were undersubscribed by 8.81%. Government accepted all bids tendered for the 91, 182 and 364-day bills at the last auction. Yields continue their downward trend on the short end of the maturity profile as the initial pricing guidance initiative for treasury bill auctions keep yielding results. The 91-day and 182 bills dropped by 2 basis points, each to clear at 25.73%, 28.23% respectively, while the 364-day bill dipped by a basis point to clear at 28.84%. Trading volumes on the GIFM declined by 23% to 2.1 billion in the just ended week. Treasury bills continue to dominate trading activity, accounting for 66.04% of the total volume traded. The Ghana cedi weakened further in the week under review, after depreciating by 0.32%, 0.33%, and 0.74% to the USD, GBP, and Euro respectively. The cedi closed the week trading at mid-rates of 12.91 to the US dollar, 16 cedis and 13 pesos to the British pound, and 14 cedis to the euro. Indicatives from the open markets revealed that the cedi closed at mid-rates of 13 cedis 25 pesos to the US dollar, 16 cedis and 62 pesos to the pound, and 14 cedis 31 pesos to the euro. The Ghanaian stock market witnessed a decline in the performance of its indices in the week under review. The GSE Composite Index declined by 0.12% as losses in CAL and MTN Ghana overshadowed gains in CMLT, GCB, SIC, GLD, and Unilever. The index closed the week at 3,451.96 points, with a 10.28% year-to-date return. Market activity, as indicated by traded volumes, experienced a decline during the week. 491,833 shares, valued at 40.2 million cedis, were exchanged, marking a notable decrease of 82.11% compared to the preceding week. We expect the ICT and consumer goods sector of the stock market to drive the performance of the index in the week ahead. This brings our review to an end, and from all of us at Tessa Capital, make it a great day. Visit us online at www.tessacapital.com or call us on 050-154-6859 for more information. Tessa Capital, grow your wealth.
That was Tessa Capital, a leading financial institution in Ghana. On the international front, a Brazilian Supreme Court judge has opened an inquiry into Elon Musk after multi-billionaire said he would reactivate accounts on social media platform X, formerly Twitter, that the judge had ordered to be blocked. Mr. Musk posted on the platform that the restriction had been lifted because the court order was unconstitutional. He also called for Justice Alexandre de Moraes to resign or be impeached. If X fails to comply with the order, it will be fined $19,774 a day. In his decision, Justice Moraes wrote that Mr. Musk had launched a disinformation campaign against the Supreme Court. The platform's global government affairs team said the company was not allowed to say which accounts were affected. That is all we have for the business news segment. In wrapping up, the major stories. NIC urges insuring public to patronize complaints management system. Cocoa Board justifies 58.6% increment in producer price of cocoa for the rest of the 2023-2024 crop season as it faults minorities' position on the percentage of increment. And the cedi depreciates, treasury bill demands rises, and stock prices decline. My name is Saka Abdullahi. Jerry Ham continues with Zed in the morning.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Price has gone up and people are excited, some not so much so, but this is what it is. So we'll be talking cocoa on our top story. The interview with Fifi Buafo is a bit lengthier than what the excerpts we've been playing, so we'll give you the whole rundown of what happened when our colleague sat with Fifi Buafo on this very issue. So yes, that is coming up. And then also today we have a special interview. Learning French. We're talking French. Ghana is set to be applying or has applied to join the Francophone countries. That's what we've been told. Is it true? Is it not true? Why should we join the Francophone countries? In a country that is also surrounded by 3 Francophone countries and the Gulf of Guinea, probably that's a good move. We'll be talking to the director of Alliance Française today. Yes, that interview is coming up sometime at 8:55. So that is something you need to understand and welcome. Also, our business briefs will be coming to you a bit earlier today, 7:45. We'll be giving you the business nuggets as we got them for you. And then also, it's important for you to know that in the last hour, we're also talking personal development. Like I keep saying, Mondays are personal development, personal growth and development Mondays. Tuesdays are health and wellness Tuesdays. Wednesdays are science and tech Wednesdays. Thursdays are arts, culture and tourism Thursdays. And then Fridays, business roundtable. So your new look show, it's beginning to take a bit of shape. So you should be expecting a lot more. Concerning producer price, our colleague went and sat with the head of PR, and they had an interesting conversation. It's a conversation I think you would want to listen to in full. And then also, another top story, but no one keeps talking about it, is the IPAC that NDC is asking for urgently, that the EC needs to ask, EC needs to quickly put together an IPAC. And I understand the call, because the truth of the matter is that the EC failed to hold the IPAC, which is the Inter-Party Advisory Committee, as per the EC's own schedule on March 27, per its calendar. It didn't happen. So I think there is nothing wrong with the opposition NDC asking the EC to quickly organize an IPAC meeting to address specifically the missing voter registration kits. The shortage of these BVDs, which is the biometric verification devices, and we are told there is a disappearance of some crucial components, including 5 laptops, and NDC is saying, hey, this is not something that we should. But it's 7:20, so let's listen to Fifi Bafo and Regina Bote in their conversation.
Just as we indicated at the time of the announcement of the 2023-2024 cocoa season, the price at the time, as announced, was 1,308 Ghana cedis, a bag of 64 kilograms. With this new announcement, what it therefore means is that the price of a bag of cocoa, which is 64 kg, will cost 2,070 Ghana cedis. 2,070 Ghana cedis. So the ton will 23,120 Ghana cedis per ton.
This is the second time we're seeing an increase in this window or crop season, yes?
That's precisely what it is, and it's not a new thing. Usually when the price is determined at the beginning of the season, you do not have this incident happening. But this time round, we've seen an incident where halfway the season, the price has been revised upwards significantly.
So seeing that we're witnessing another increase in the same crop season, I'm tempted to ask what prompted the decision to increase the farm gate price at this time?
I think it's largely due to the fact that we've seen a very sharp rise in the world market price of cocoa. At the time of determining the price in 2023 September, the average we achieved was about 2,600. Of course, the price had risen to about 3,000, but the fact that we do forward sales, we had sold the cocoa at a relatively lower price at the time it got to around 3,000 and more. So the achieved price was about 2,600. Today, the price has significantly risen. So it gives us the confidence that, yes, if we're able to raise the income of the farmer, one, of course, it makes the farmer better off comparatively. And then apart from the fact that it makes the farmer better off, it encourages the farmer to also put in the necessary effort and improves the livelihood generally of the cocoa farmer.
In determining to increase the farm gate prices, is there any attention given to how it could help in reducing the menace of cocoa smuggling?
It is critical. It is critical in the sense that we are not an island. There are neighboring countries, there are people seeking to take advantage of the price at the world market. What is happening presently at the world market gives room for people who have not committed cocoa to contract and they have expectation to deliver, to just get the cocoa, sell it at the world market. In our case, in the case of Cote d'Ivoire and other traders, they already have contracted. These contracts were locked in at a time the price was relatively lower. So now that the price is at the level we find today, over 9,000, for us who have already locked in contracts, the expectation of us is to get cocoa and pay for the contract we locked in at way cheaper prices. But for people who, that's not their business, they are only taking advantage of the situation. They are just to get the cocoa, sell it, make their money, and they are out. If any time there's a price fall, They have no business with the farmer, and they are not there to rescue the farmer. So increasing the price at this time, yes, it also helped in addressing to an extent the issue of smuggling.
I had seen the statement that was issued by Cocoa Board announcing the new farm gate prices. And in that statement, there was a portion that says this is coming because government has the interest of cocoa farmers at heart and is in line with the government's commitment to ensuring that they are better off. But then one would ask, you referenced the international market prices a number of times in this interview. Is it not natural that once the prices are rising globally, then there should be some adjustment to the prices of cocoa producers locally?
But there's one thing you need to note. Okay. We had locked in a number of contracts. As we speak, the contracts we had locked in, we have not delivered on all those contracts already. So, and the main reason why we have this sharp increase in the price of cocoa is because production generally, not only in Ghana, has fallen. And the fact that production has fallen, you first have to deliver on your contract before you can even sell. So it is not to say that you have cocoa there which you are selling at the price. Let me take the opportunity to explain for the benefit of listeners. There are people who, when they see these figures, they are quickly rushing to do deductions and form conclusions out of it. Okay. What is important to note is that this is for spot prices. Spot prices generally means is that, so today, I have a cocoa available. I am ready to deliver the cocoa and get that amount being offered. Don't forget, now is the period where production is generally low. You already have contracts you have to deliver. So it is not a case that immediately any cocoa you get today, you are going to deliver it at the price which is being offered. Okay. The cocoa you have today, you have to use it to take care of the contract you've already signed. So if government makes the point that it's a demonstration of government commitment, yes, indeed it is. Because to the ordinary, if it is just a normal business, what I'm supposed to do is to make sure that I have delivered on all the contracts I have before we talk about any possible adjustments. So yes, if government says that it is a demonstration of government commitment, then you cannot question that, because indeed, just as the history has it, you don't have a situation whereby mid-year you have a price review or a price adjustment. What usually happens over the years is that when the price is announced beginning of the season, you wait till starting the next year, then you adjust the price. But this time around, that is not what has happened.
Why are production levels falling? I do know that the output has reduced significantly. What's the cause of that?
The major reason why the whole world at the moment is struggling with cocoa quantities on the market is because of the effect of El Nino. In fact, it's a strong extremes of weather patterns, either extremes of rainfall or extremes of harmattan. In our case, it was quite unfortunate because just when we were having flowering, we experienced some very strong rainfall. What happens is that it drops the cherries. Okay. That develops into the pods. Immediately we got into the period where you expect to have the rains, so the few ones that had developed to mature. Then you also had a severe harmattan, and you need some amount of water in the soil to help with pod development. It did not happen. And that is what we are facing today.
Now let's delve into the percentage of increment, 58.6. What went into determining it?
So if you look at what has happened on the market, it is important to note at this point that at the end of the season, the committee mandated to set new price will still meet and determine a price for the next crop season. So this is a way, just like you said, to ensure that we keep smuggling and also to help farmers realize the benefits now. One key thing is that usually when you have huge expectation of producer price going up, a lot of people get into the business, buy from the farmers, keep it, and they don't deliver it, just to wait for the new price to be announced. What this causes is that Cocoa Board will not get the cocoa early enough to redeem the contract already signed. The farmer who has also toiled will not realize the benefits.
Given these prices we're seeing on the world market, would you say that 58.6% is a fair increment?
The prices we see today is not benefits coming in today, because the price you see today is the price you realize by delivering cocoa today. Okay. Are we delivering the cocoa today? The answer is no. Why are we not delivering the cocoa today? It is because starting the year, you've already signed contracts, and the contract you have signed, you are supposed to deliver those contracts before you have cocoa available to sell. What was the price used in determining the cocoa at the time? Was it the price of today? No. It was an average of 2,600. So if anybody just picked the price today and use it as a basis to say that, okay, so use 10,000, use 9,000, clearly the person lacks understanding of the market and is making that extrapolation. So let me give you a critical example. I have seen a statement by the minority.
Exactly, I was going to refer
Yes.
to that. They're saying that
And
if
they say
it's
use
below
10
60%,
and they say
it's
use,
a rip-off.
And they say use 10,000. These are people who have had opportunity to associate with Cocoa Board and understand how the system works. When these people had the opportunity to pretend over the board, they knew very well that you don't use spot price to determine the FOB price. And even at the time, they never, in the course of the year, said, no, regardless of what the FOB price achieved, will determine a new price. Because they had used FOB price about 2,900, where during the year, we have seen over 3,600. But you can't force them, because that's not how the system operates. So this is actually a novelty. This is something new. This is something that is actually going to benefit the farmer. So if there are people making these claims, I've heard them. When the price was 3,600, they said use 3,600 to determine the price. When the price they quoted today, they said 10,000.
Yes,
we should use it. Do you know that just last week, the price dropped from 10,000 to 9,200?
Okay.
So if you had used 10,000, when it dropped to 9,000, do you the next week announce a different price? That's not how the market operates.
So are you,
and this is spot price. Is the cocoa available to deliver on spot? No, because you've done forward sale. So if the person is coming to you and say that, then Cocoa Board on a daily basis will announce a new price, because on daily basis the price change. What the minority is not drawing attention to is the fact that it's something that has been done out of the usual way of doing things. The usual way is that every year when they will announce a price, you have to wait till the following year, September. This time round, it is not the case.
But were those situations of unprecedentedly high prices on the international market pertaining those years too?
Prices have changed on daily basis. If we are to use the yardstick that the minority want us to use, then on daily basis, prices will change.
So is the minority being deliberately mischievous or ignorant? You say they understand what's happening.
I strongly believe they understand. But we've had several engagements with them, explain these issues to them. So I find it difficult to say that they do not know what they are talking about. But you see, this announcement has come. It's something that has improved the livelihood of, it's going to improve the livelihood of farmers significantly. You have hundreds of thousands of cocoa farmers. Politicians will surely want to take advantage of things that affect their livelihood of the people. So if government is doing this, let's go out there, create an impression that after all, this is nothing good for you as a farmer, because if you allow it to sink in, it has effect on them. And that's probably the only real justification why this will happen.
If you're dismissing the minorities' concerns, what about the General Agricultural Workers Union, GAWU?
That is a very misinformed position, and it's unfortunate it came from them. Because
which position especially?
The kind of calculation,
the 150%.
It's so misinformed. It's so misinformed. It's a shame. It is, unfortunately. I have to use these words. Because do you know workers of Cocoa Board are members of GAWU? So who are the people who advise them to come out with those conclusions? Are GAWU members aware? Or the person who spoke on behalf of GAWU aware that what he was referring to was a spot price and not futures market as what pertains? You see, sometimes when you lead an organization, you do not speak your personal opinion as the position of your members. As a staff of Cocoa Board, I'm a member of the association. And you do not make these pronouncements on our behalf without at least speaking to your members. The GAWU position, I am sorry, it is not one that merits its representation.
Is there no merit in the argument they are making that because of the percentage of increase, farmers are likely to sell their farmlands to illegal miners who are paying more?
I like the word you used, illegal. So the fact that somebody is involved in an illegality, so even if the resources are not possible, also act like somebody who is into an illegal business.
No,
wait a minute.
Okay.
So do you know that someone who works at Zed can be attracted to go and pick a gun and go robbing? Because robbing people pays more than what you earn as a radio presenter. This is an illegal act.
It's illegal, but you cannot lose as the fact that it's happening, can you?
So the fact that it is happening and it's illegal, so because of that, also acts like someone who is into an illegality. I have encountered several farmers who have sold to these illegal farmers. A one-off payment is made to them, and they are worse off now. The money has been spent, their cocoa farms are gone, and they have nothing to rely on. Don't let us glorify an illegality, something that is wrong.
It's not about glorifying an illegality.
It is glorifying it because you are saying that if you don't pay them if you don't pay them what illegal people are doing, they will offer it. It is the responsibility of institutions like Karewe represents to rather advocate that we ensure that illegality is not encouraged, but not rather glorifying it.
Okay. Is it not a case of do not create the environment or enabling environment for those things to thrive?
I am telling you today that within a year, the income stream of the farmer has increased 158%. Is there any public service that has increased its staff revenue, benefit by 158%?
Is the determination of the percentage of increase or increment in any way tied to what happens in Côte d'Ivoire?
It's important to bring up the point about Côte d'Ivoire. Côte d'Ivoire, the minority, when they issued their first press conference, they've issued 2 press conferences in a week. They said that Côte d'Ivoire has increased the farmer income or the farm gate price. So there's the need for us to respond. And if we do not respond, it will cost us in terms of smuggling. What is the situation today? If you do the calculation, Côte d'Ivoire increase is about $2,470. Ours is $2,500. In fact, if you actually use the exchange, we have used an exchange rate beyond the current rate because we are anticipating that there's a possibility that the exchange rate may actually go up. But if you look at the exchange rate of today, 12.9, the price today you see, the increase, is about 2,567, which is more than Côte d'Ivoire. The minority who said we should respond to what Côte d'Ivoire is doing. Today we are paying more than Côte d'Ivoire. But they say that forget about Côte d'Ivoire, pay 3 times what you are paying. Is that how much Cote d'Ivoire is paying?
What do you say to people who say that this novel announcement of a farm gate price increase mid-season is because the NDC and the minority were making this whole thing a campaign issue, so you had to respond?
Do you know the number of things the minority have said? I'm not sure we've responded to that, all of that. Announcing cocoa price is not something that is done within a week or a day or 2 days. Over 2 weeks ago, I was part of a team that went to Cote d'Ivoire to meet with our counterparts there because we have now a relationship, the Cote d'Ivoire Ghana Cocoa Initiative. So when prices are being determined, there's the need for us to have some consultation and discussion amongst us. And this is over 2 weeks ago. Sorry, it couldn't have been the minority asking us to do that.
Your final words to cocoa farmers.
We are in a year where production has been down. Most of the factors are factors beyond the cocoa board, factors beyond the farmers themselves. We have the opportunity at this time where the price at the international market has increased significantly. The cocoa board at the moment is doing nationwide pruning just to make sure that at least we are able to get the necessary crop going into the next year. There's no better time than the time we find ourselves in. And the least farmers can do is to take advantage of the new price by preparing their farms such that we have a better harvest going into the next year, and then we can take advantage of the price as it is today.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
That was the head of PR talking to head of PR of Cocoa Board talking to our colleague Regina Bolle-Botte on Top Story, the cocoa price increase. Yes, please send us your WhatsApp via the line 0544-321019 or 0303-956641. That is the landline. But you can always follow us at Zed Fm GH. That is the handle on TikTok. The TikTok handle is at Zed Multimedia. On YouTube, Zed Multimedia. On X, on Facebook, and on Instagram, it's at ZFMGH. The website is zmultimedia.com. Don't forget the WhatsApp line is 0544-321019. So there's been a bit of a change on the show today. At 8:55, originally we were going to bring you the service and experience moments, but we're bringing it to you at 7:45 to make space for an interesting conversation with the director of Alliance Française. She's coming here for us to have a quick discussion on all things French and Ghana attempting or trying to join the Francophonie countries. That is coming up at 8:55. But coming up at 7:45, we bring you service and experience. And then at 7:55, originally business briefs, and business briefs will still stay at 7:55. Thereafter we go into Z Talk, where we're looking at the financial services market. Thereafter, that brings us to the French conversation. That would send us somewhere into 9:15 thereabout, and then there we'll talk personal growth and development. Personal growth and development. So yes, that's Zed in the morning. You're still tuning to the greatest breakfast this side of the equator.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
There is nothing to do. If you know you can excel in the area of sales and marketing, you have what it takes to sell and sell well. You have the presentation skills. You are able to think on your feet, and all that skill that is required to excel in selling excel in selling, you must call this line 0243 416351, 0243 416351, or 0544 351019, 0544 351019. Call. This could be your lucky break. You could be getting a job that would change your fortunes. It is important that you get it right. Also, you are a business person. You've invested so much, but we say without money coming in, your business will not last. Without money coming in quickly, your money might run out. So what do? Put your product before the right people. Get your product in the faces of those who have the money to buy. Those are the things we are learning in business briefs. I'm talking to you about it now. If they don't know what you're doing, no one is buying. Which is why Zed FM, in partnership with the New Finder newspaper, Zed FM, the New Finder, an amazing combination. They're giving you exclusive advertising packages that will fit your budget. So hurry, call 0243 416351, 0243 416351, 0544 351019, 0544 351019. Why is this important? Call and you will know, because with Zed FM and the New Finder newspaper, you're getting two heavyweights in one. You get the radio and you also get the print. This is what we're talking about. So why don't you call right away? 0243 416351 or 0544 351019.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM.
Gee, but it's great to be back home. Home is where I want to be.
In the heart of Accra, nestled in the vibrant neighborhood of East Legon and New Beacon, a 360 multimedia firm has emerged. Introducing Zed Multimedia. With a steadfast focus on lifestyle, leisure, and business, we set out to bring high-value oriented programs that captivate the taste and desires of our audience. From the captivating airwaves of Zed 101.9 FM to the dynamic visuals of Zed TV and the innovative realms of Zed Digital and the incubation of advanced technological knowledge at Zed Tech, every facet of modern media is meticulously curated to engage and inspire. Also, let's not forget the New Finder newspaper, now under the Zed Multimedia umbrella, delivering insightful journalism with a business focus. Join us on the journey where innovation meets inspiration, where lifestyle meets leisure, and where business thrives. Change is here. Zed Multimedia, your lifestyle, leisure, and business platform.
Most customers do not complain. Know that. Most customers do not complain. And non-complaining customers hurt your business. Think about it. Most customers do not complain, and non-complaining customers are the ones that you should be worried about. Because with consumer packaged goods and other small tickets items, only 5 to 10%, listen to this, only 5 to 10% of dissatisfied customers complain. And most of them complain only to the retailer. For serious problems with big ticket items, the complaint rate rises to 20 to 50%. Reporting to a frontline rep, get this right, but only 1 out of 10 of these customers, that is 2 to 5% of all complainers, escalate to the top. You see, so they might complain, but just to the frontliner, but they might not escalate it to the top. What does this mean? It means that for each complaint you hear, approximately 20 to 50 other customers who went through the same experience just walked away. They decided it wasn't worth complaining. What is the lesson here? As a business person, business professional, as a business owner, as a supervisor, executive, whatever role you're playing, consistently and consciously look for problems. That might not sound too well. Let me repeat it. Consistently and consciously look for problems within your setup. Why? People are walking away without complaining. So look for the problems. If you go to your front desk and they say, oh, no one has complained, don't trust them. Ask for more. Ask for more. Dig deep, because there's always a complaint somewhere, or a customer just walks away because they were not impressed with something that happened. So that's your lesson for today on customer service and experience moments. They are not complaining, so you go look for the complaints. This has been customer service experience moment right here on Zed in the Morning.
It's great to be back home. Home is where I want to be.
smarter and faster you go. That is why Zed in the Morning brings you business briefs each and every workday. Gleaning from the best minds in business and finance, this segment will bring cutting-edge thinking and best learning practice to listeners. So yes, today's business briefs conversation. Every successful business creates something of value. Remember lesson 1 and 2 of last week, we said value creation was one. And then we said then the next ones are marketing and sales and finance and value delivery. But value creation is critical. Every successful business creates something of value. The best business in the world are the ones that create the most value for other people. Some businesses strive by providing a little value to many and others focus on providing a lot of value to a few people. So let's get a difference. You have a business that will say we're providing a little value to many people, so it's a numbers game for them. Then also there are the businesses that are saying we'll provide high value for few people. So these are two ways you look at it. The best approach is to focus on making things people want to buy. Creating something no one wants is a waste. You have a couple of options in creating value. You either serve an existing market with a better offering, or you create a new market with a new offering. That's also an approach you can take. But the first step in value creation must be your market research. That should be the first step. So lesson 1 for today, market research. But let's end with this quote, because tomorrow we'll go into how to even start and what to look out for when you're about to create that business that is going to shake the very foundations of the market. Mark Andreessen, who is a venture capitalist, in fact, he's a founder of Netscape. If you know Netscape back then, he said, market matters most. That's a 3M right there. Market matters most. Then he continues to say, neither a stellar team nor fantastic product will redeem a bad market. So it doesn't matter how excellent your team is or how fantastic your product is. If the market is not there, you're already in trouble. He says they cannot redeem a bad market. Then he ends his quote by saying, markets that don't exist don't care how smart you are. Markets that are non-existent don't care how smart you are. So you could be super smart, but if the market is not there, your product might not make it. And Mark would use a typical example of a product that had so many brains behind, but because the market wasn't there, in spite of how excellent that product was, it never saw the light of day. So yes, this has been Business Briefs lesson for today, Monday, the 8th of April. We'll be coming back with Zed Talk.
Zed 101.9 FM.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM.
Yes, you know Zed is still in full force. Zed Multimedia, new vision, your lifestyle, leisure, and business platforms, they are all here. But on Zed 101.9 FM, exciting programs lined up just for you. Tune into Zed 101.9 FM this and every Sunday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then also from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Why? Because you don't want to miss the man they call the king of country, the legend himself, Tommy Annan Forson. Tommy Annan Forson comes your way with a program called Country Express right here on Zed 101.9 FM. The time again is Sunday 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and Wednesdays 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Also tune into Zed 101.9 FM 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. this and every Monday to Friday with NYA The Brand. The show is called The Brighter Side, and it is a brunch show that takes you to lunch and beyond. NYA comes your way the brighter side. She is NYA, the brand, Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Also, tune in to Z101.9 FM and tune in at 3 p.m. all through to 7 p.m. Mondays to Fridays. The show is called Highway 1019. It is a drive of a life. Highway 1019. Mito Foriwa and the gang there. They would take you back from work and put a smile on your face all the way till you get back home. Also tune in to Z101.9 FM. Z Gospel Groove with DDM every Sunday, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. DDM, the bearded man of God. He comes your way with Z Gospel Groove, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Also, are you aware that right here on Z 101.9 FM, every Monday to Friday, 5:30 a.m. daily, we have the Living Word with Dr. Mensah Otabil. The Living Word with Dr. Mensah Otabil comes your way 5:30 a.m. daily, right here on Z 101.9 FM. Also on Saturdays at 8 a.m. You don't want to miss Time with Professor Stephen Ade. Abundant Living, that's what we call it. It's a show that would give you nuggets for smart living. Professor Stephen Ade comes your way with a show called Time with Professor Stephen Ade every Saturday at 8 a.m. And then also every Tuesday at 1 p.m. The show is called I Have a Story to Tell. I Have a Story to Tell. And it's hosted by the legend himself, Honorable Fritz Buffo. Honorable Fritz Buffo comes your way this and every Tuesday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. with a show called I Have a Story to Tell. He's interviewing some brilliant Ghanaian minds and finding out what they are up to. Coming up is the Zed Talk.
Zed 101.9 FM.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
You know, the financial services industry of every country is of utmost importance, because think about it, anywhere you go, anything you do, the financial services will play a role, right? So long as it's going to involve money, the financial services will be there. And yes, money is the grease that actually runs the entire machinery. Make sure there are no creaks here and there. As a matter of fact, if the country's economic machinery is creaking, if you are hearing sounds from some corners, it means the lubricant called money is not there, which is why there is a noise being made in that area. Mr. Gilbert Chiado is a senior manager, business tax and regulatory from Deloitte, Ghana. He's right here with us in the studio, and we're going to have a conversation around the whole business financial services industry, the outlook. We're having a general conversation, nothing specific, but we'll be getting a lot of nuggets from Mr. Gilbert Ado. Senior, good morning.
Good morning, Jerry, and good morning to your listeners. It's a privilege to join you on this show. I mean, to share insight into some of the happenings in the financial service industry. Of course, you have indicated that the bedrock for not only the country, but even in our domestic homes, I mean, finances do play a key role. I mean, money is a lifeline. You can't do without it. So it's very important that you at most have some information on the current happenings in there, and how best it can also help in shaping your investment going forward. We would also try as much as possible to touch base on some tax issues as a teaser for people to also be aware that in the financial service space, it's not only about the figures, it's not only about the money, but there are also issues that centers on tax that you'd also have to be aware of in order for you to run your business as well. And I'm happy because when I entered the studio, I heard you talking about some nuggets that are very key in business development. I think that some of these conversations will help in people shaping their businesses and the way forward for the future.
Yeah, I mean, for us at Zed, we're heavy on business with a touch of lifestyle and leisure. So business briefs and customer service are two new segments that we added. But let's start with this. What is the state of our financial sector now, today, as we sit here Monday, April 8th at 8:04? What is the state of our financial sector?
Great. So I'll start by saying that, some time back, the financial service sector was hit by some financial challenges. Some banks had to be closed. There had to be some mergers and there had to be some acquisitions. But fast forward, I think that when we were on the brink of making some inroads, the debt exchange program also set in. So these issues had a hit on most financial service institutions in Ghana. I think that some are not out of the woods yet. Some have been able to be able to sail through, and they are making inroads currently. But nonetheless, I mean, these challenges still lingers on. There is the need for some banks to do some recapitalization to augment their capacity, their books, their asset base, in order to be able to take on board other financing options and to provide the needed financing to private sector as well as the government in order to trigger economic development. But it's been of a real challenge. I think that not only the banks that were affected, at BOG, who was also affected, they had to write off some significant amount of, or impair some significant amount of their debt. You know, it became a very top issue in Ghana politically, but that's not a subject for us to discuss now. But then just to indicate that this really hit the books of a lot of banks. If you look at the financial statements for most of the banks, looking at 2022, 2023, you see the impact on their assets. And in a financial service institution, one of the backbone for your development is to have a strong asset base in order to be able to have access to funding yourself. Because you also do borrow. And you borrow and you on lend. So if you don't have the capacity, how then do you get the needed finances to be able to operate?
I mean, would you say that our financial services sector has shown robustness? Because if the banking cleanup came, and then could we even add COVID?
Yeah, COVID too came.
As well, and then DDE.
Yes.
So these three very punchy weights came through, and still, I mean, we survived. By and large, we survived. So does that not account for some robustness from day one?
Yes, some banks, due to their corporate governance measures, have been able to thrive. I think that it's very important that we give some applause to some banks who have strong corporate governance structures to preempt some of these. Of course, COVID was not expected, but in terms of the financial service sector crisis, the cleanup vis-a-vis the debt exchange program, I think that some had leads, and they were able to appropriately put measures in place to be able to address some of these. I think that it stemmed from, one, the financial service sector cleanup, because it was shrouded in some corporate governance challenges.
Yeah.
And if you're aware, the BOG came out with a lot of directives to ensure that there are so many issues that are streamlined in that financial service space.
Yeah.
I think that that gave credence, or that served as a foundation for some banks to put certain structures in place in order to be able to be sailed through. I mean, in this challenging time, some have done very well, significantly done very, very well.
Okay.
Yes, and I think that in as much as the challenges are there, such management teams need to be applauded. And I think that some of the wins, you would see it in their 2023 financial statement for some of the banks.
Okay.
I think by the end of April or so, some will start publishing.
I think they published last week, March ending, first quarter.
March ending, exactly.
Yeah.
So some have already published, and you can look at the figures and you see how resilient some of them have been in these challenging times.
Without mentioning names or brands, if you viewed the market, the banks that are shaky still after all this, that need recapitalization, especially after this DDE and all that, what percentage of the market do they form? Are they in the vast majority, or fewer banks need help?
In terms of percentages, I may not be able to give you the specific figure, but I can say on top of my head that there are some banks, substantial amount of banks have been able to meet that, or will be able to meet that recapitalization measure. Some would have to consider further measures. I mean, bringing additional funding. It's all to ensure that we have a solid financial service space. It's all to ensure that
wouldn't that be sustaining what was said from the beginning, that this country had too many banks in the first place, too many universal banks, if I could say that? Because if after the cleanup and after all these other issues have gone up, there is still a chance that a few more might have to merge, then probably those experts who said from day one that we have too many banks might be true. Yes,
but you see, we started our conversation on the fact that, I mean, you need funding. So for me, I have a challenge with the saying that we have too many banks. I mean, we need to measure the too many banks with the pace of the development in the economy. Of course, one would say that maybe the economy may not have fared well, but we need to also look at other variables economically. So we may have too many banks, but what is the narrative in terms of its impact on private sector development?
Okay.
The challenging fact here is the rate at which we borrow.
Okay.
That is one thing that has to be looked at. I think that if you take a careful look at the 2024 budget that was read, you will see government's drive in order to provide funding through venture capital firms for the SMEs.
Yeah.
Because then the thinking is that if the cost of borrowing is high, how do you drive economic development by helping these SMEs to grow? Because once they grow, it could lead to reducing our unemployment rate. But the challenge could be that possibly how many indigenous banks do we have?
Okay.
Possibly. I mean, that is another discussion for another day that could be looked at. I think that maybe there should be measures in place to help indigenous banks grow, because these indigenous banks are our own.
Yeah.
And it also helps in managing some of the FX challenges we would possibly have, because some of these foreign banks, all the profit they make will have to be repatriated.
Okay.
So if you have indigenous banks, I mean, the profit
stays here.
So that could be a discussion that could be looked at in future, possibly. But I am not against having a lot of banks. I think that one of the areas that has helped this country is the service industry.
Yeah.
And when you look at the service industry, financial service sector also plays a key role.
Very important.
Unfortunately, we have not been that production driven. So you don't have a lot of manufacturing firms and other in Ghana. But then we have a lot of, they are also creating employment. It needs to be streamlined. But we need to look at so many variables before we make, that statement here.
Now, quite recently, sometime last week, the central bank came up with a tier system for the CRR as per loans to deposit ratios of the various banks, where the worse of your loan to deposit ratio was, the more money you would have kept. So there was a 25-20 and then 15% kind of thing. Now, the idea is that for those whose loan to deposit books are better, then they have a lot more money to push out there. Judging by the risk appetite of these banks, let's talk risk. Are our banks risk averse, or would you believe that they understand the risk space for them to push these monies into the hands of SMEs, or the challenges of lending to SMEs are still there?
I think that the more reason why some of these big ticket banks are not able to push finances to the SME is the risk. And that is a policy narrative that has to be looked at by the BOG. I think that they have been at the forefront coming up with policy framework to address some of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And also government is also looking at how best they can also provide funding. Like I said, if you look at the 2024 budget, there is that intention to provide funding to some commercial banks to be able to provide these loans, soft loans to these SMEs as a way or a drive to develop or create more employment through that particular sector. The risk is imminent, honestly, because some of these SMEs, the kind of KYC analysis that banks will do, they may not be able to meet that criteria.
It's true.
So what do you do? And in as much as you may want to provide funding, I mean, it is profit oriented, and to be able to get substantial profit, you also have to measure your risk, because you can't just overlook it, push in people's money, and later, I mean, it becomes a challenge to recoup. So it's very important. I think that the BOG has been at the forefront of putting out some of these measures in place. But of course, as you go to the lower tier banks or lower tier financial services,
the non-banking financial institutions,
that is why government would come in to provide the needed support. So it's government backed, of course, in as much as it's government backed, and they've done this through these venture capital funds that will now look at how they can do a proper evaluation of the SMEs and how they can provide that necessary assistance. It's very, very important, but you can also overlook risk. Yes.
Let's talk technology.
Customer
experience, efficiency, and all that. How do you see technology's role? What is technology doing now? What can technology do for the financial services industry?
Any bank that is not at the forefront of tech, I think will one day have to
fold up,
honestly, because technology has taken the space, and you need to ensure that you are at the forefront of that conversation. A lot of people will not want to go to the bank. It's not because they don't want to. It's business. Someone should be able to sit somewhere and do everything on his phone or on his tablet. That is where technology is going. Look, it may come to a time technology is going to affect employment if we don't take care because of AI. And what AI can do now. And these are things that we would have to then look at. So a lot of banks have been at the forefront of ensuring that there is that drive to garner real customer service experience, like you alluded to during your earlier conversation. That look, you need to get feedback. Of course, if the people at the front desk are not giving you feedback, there need to be other technological ways of getting feedback,
so that it will bypass the front line. If the customer can send, I am happy, I am not happy, and it will land in a certain database, frontline doesn't really matter. The big boy will know.
I had one of the bank's product offering. We had a conversation, and I think that the lady that provided me the service was top notch, and I decided I wanted to recommend her so that, I mean, she should be appreciated. Of course, I was called, and I gave that recommendation. But the question for me is, where would it go? What if the person I'm talking to
doesn't like the lady? You hide the recommendation.
What then happens? So it's very, very important. I think that gradually we've moved away from this conservative banking where you have people holding checks, having to go to sit at the bank. You may have a few in the system, but if you look at the Gen Zs, where we are going, even some of us, sometimes we have issues with technology because the people I work with, they are far, far, far ahead. They need to see that, no, this is the future. And banks that have been at the forefront of this, I believe, would have rigged in the necessary returns in terms of customer service experience. And we have some services that are rendered by some of these advisory consulting firm that run what we call pools, or they gather data on customer service experience for some banks, and these are third-party driven. It's third-party driven, so I mean you are able to get real-time feedback, and that helps in the development of your product offering technologically. And
Yeah.
Any bank that is not looking at this will be in trouble in future. And I think, but then if you look at the trends, I don't think most of the banks are at the forefront. The big ticket banks, they are really at the forefront of some of these conversations because they know the impact and how it's going to drive even revenue.
Okay.
It's very important because I'll look at the turnaround time. If I could just do one or two things on my phone, why should I drive to? And if you're able to do that, you are saving me cost as well as you also earning revenue. So
That's
it's a
true.
win-win situation.
I mean, I worked in this industry for a while, and one of the things I always talk about was the volume of papers we used in an average day in an average branch. The entries you're passing and all that. And now with technology and everything being done online, paper cost alone, stationery cost alone could be...
Jerry, I can tell you for a fact that if you are a young person who is very much interested in this space, you cannot discount technology. You need to have some IT, some form of an IT education. You can't discount it because we are that sector is moving from paperwork because a lot of paperwork brings cost.
Yeah.
So if we can make some savings, and at the top level, the savings will make also drive the kind of bonus you get.
It's true.
So
it's true.
So at the top level, they would also be working on ensuring that they are able to make these cost savings. And of course, the cost benefit analysis is key. You need to look at the long term, medium term, and then the short term in order for you to be able to have a better, I always say that have a better technological infrastructure development agenda in place, such that if, Jerry, you come today, you can then measure the percentage of growth.
Okay.
When I come tomorrow, I can also measure the percentage.
A before and after kind of scenario.
Exactly. Proper evaluation systems in place. So if you were the MD, maybe this is the policy, you achieve 60 or maybe you achieve 20%. I'm not coming to revise that. I'm coming to enhance it and add on.
Okay.
By the time I'm leaving, we may have achieved what? 60%. You did 20, I came to do 40. And you will see that it leads to what? Institutional transformation and development.
Interesting. We're talking to Mr. Gilbert Yunchiado, who happens to be a senior manager, business tax and regulatory from Deloitte, Ghana. He's here with us. We're talking financial services industry, the entire outlook of it. I want to also find out from you. Let's look at this. Going forward, what strategic alliances are you seeing in the market, not just between bank to bank, but bank to even non-banking? What are some of the alliances you are anticipating looking into this industry?
Great. Sometimes for confidentiality purposes,
you wouldn't mention names.
Names. And from where I come from, I mean, it's very, very key on the banner. So there is that likely strategic alliance for a lot of financial service houses or financial service institutions. With this issue of recapitalization,
okay,
if you don't have the muscle, what do? If you want to stay in business, you merge.
Okay.
I mean, or you can have other strategic alliances or partner with people who have the same interest and the same vision. These are some things, these are things that are on the banner for most of these financial service institutions, and it cascades down to the very bottom. Don't forget that the issues, the cleanup, did not only affect the banks. It started with the banks and later...
Yeah, it affected everybody. It started with universal banks. It came to SML, the savings and loans.
Yeah.
It came to MFIs, the microfinance institutions. I mean, the only people it didn't touch was Susu. So it cascaded through. So you're absolutely right.
So I think that every bank, I mean, most likely would say that some banks started as maybe a microfinance sometimes, some years ago, and they have grown over the years to become big banks. So it is very, very key that you need to think about strategic alliances. Sometimes you need to look at what? The synergies.
Okay.
Synergies. What you stand to benefit as through these alliances. in terms of corporate governance, in terms of knowledge transfer, in terms of technological development, and even in terms of the market. If you'd want to go alone, then you need to be a big ticket.
And if you don't have the financial muscle,
my brother, what do you do? So I think that some of these things are there. These fintechs that are coming up, bank insurance, these telcos are also. So these are things that most banks are looking at, or most financial service industries are looking at. We've been talking about bank, but one of the financial service institutions in that industry, the insurance, they also have a recapitalization that they will have to do. If the National Insurance Commission has given deadlines for these things to be met. So all these things are being talked about. And I think that sometimes, in as much as it may be of a challenge to some group of people, if you look at the broader interest of some of these things, is to ensure that we have a strong and a robust financial service institutions. I think that some time ago, either the 2022 or 2023 budget, there was that intention to make Ghana the financial hub of West Africa.
Yeah.
At either the 2023 budget or 2024, I couldn't check that out, but then I know it's in one of the budget statement that was read by government. So there's that deliberate intention to be able to achieve that objective, and if you're able to achieve that, all the better for this country. But of course, the politics of the day, which some experts like us, we are not politicians.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we speak to the issues and as they are. And if you're able to achieve some of these things, it's going to help the country a lot and possibly create employment too. But to some extent, how are we preparing our unemployed and those who are in school to be able to have that opportunity to feed into that hub?
Okay.
It's very important. What is our course content structure? Is it tailored such that it will meet the needs and demands of the current trends we find globally? You understand?
Yeah.
And also in Africa. Do we have that? That is one of the things you would have to look at, because if you don't have capacity, what then will happen is you have a lot of expatriates.
Yeah, you have to import.
Exactly. You have a lot of expatriates, and having a lot of expatriates operating in this space, you know what it means. Once they have families out there and businesses out there, they will definitely want to repatriate their earnings.
Yeah.
And it will continue to have challenges for us as a country. So it's very important that even within the context of these strategic alliances, we look at how we can also domesticate.
Okay.
My good old papa, Dan
Lati,
the propounder of domestication.
Yeah.
Possibly. We need to look at how we can also domesticate, strengthen some of these local financial houses in Ghana, put the right corporate governance structures in place. What are the lessons learned is very important. I read an article that was written by Zed Fm on the implementation of VAT in Ghana somewhere in 1995, the challenges they faced.
Okay.
And going forward, when they were re-implementing it, the measures they put in place. I think it's important that within that space, devoid of political issues, we sit down to do a thorough analysis of the challenges, what the root cause were. These things are painstaking. Sometimes, even as individuals, to sit to do some of these things is painstaking. But in the long term, it pays off.
Okay. So if it must be done, it must be done.
Correct.
That's interesting. Talking of education vis-a-vis the financial services industry, if you go to a typical university, tertiary institution in this country, they have a lot of business students. Do you think we're training them right for the industry?
Well, this is a very good question, but it's also something I would say that is also of a challenge. Of course, if you look at the way our universities are, all our universities are now doing business courses.
Yeah.
But then the challenge is, have we done a thorough analysis of the course content to see if it is fit for purpose.
Mm.
Have you done an analysis? Maybe it has been done. I don't want to leave your studio and somebody would say, oh, this thing has been done. Of course, we may have done it, but you and I know that there are very good researches that has been done that is gathering dust in
on the shelves.
They are just on the shelf. Possibly there isn't that opportunity for implementation. I may not know. But looking at the course content, I don't have any doubt in my mind that it could address or it could help in meeting the employment needs of these financial service space. But then the question is the procedure in which it is taught.
Okay.
Are we training people to pass exams, or we are training people to be able to understand concepts and be able to apply? Of course, it has become a challenge because of the number of students we also take on, the ratio of student to a lecturer. So if a lecturer has 1,000 students, how would he be able to maybe address this particular issue I'm talking about? So you could see that when some of these very good private universities take few people, charge well, and they are able to train people to address those needs. Possibly government will have to look at that space in order to ensure that, okay, fine, let's look at the syllables. We can even develop it such that we can export talents.
Okay.
It's not necessarily a brain drain. It could, some may say. But then we had people from Cuba coming in here to come and do this.
In the medical field.
Yeah, you can have some form of an arrangement. I always have a challenge. People will say when you go out there, the education is better and everything. People have taken pains to do it. And they are human beings like us.
So we can.
So if there is that deliberate attempt, that focus to be, and that agenda for us to be able to do, we'll be able to do it. But the difficulty is eminent. But that's why we are human beings.
Yeah.
You understand me? That's why we are human beings. And we are created to also come up with solutions. You know, you mentioned Mensa Otabel. He said something that's always been profound. He said what? Development. And I think that his narrative was that whatever has been developed has been there, but it had to be discovered.
Okay.
If you do not discover, how do you develop? It's just like mining of gold. You have to use something to identify where the ore is, get it out, process it, and it's painstaking.
But it must be done because you want what is under the ground.
Exactly. You know the returns that come out of it. So you do whatever it takes to be able to address that.
Listeners, Gilbert Yurinchiado is a senior manager, business tax and regulatory at Deloitte, Ghana, and we're talking financial services. Today we're zooming in on the sector to find out what the state is, current state of Ghana's financial sector, what key issues are impacting the sector, and then higher interest rates, reduce money supply regulation, and all that. That is what we're talking about. When the financial services shakeup happened, there were those who accused the regulator or the regulators of they not doing their jobs well, which is what had led to the need for a cleanup. Post the cleanup, has there been, or what investments has been made in terms of regulation and regulatory compliance for us to be convinced that going forward, even if it were to happen again, it wouldn't be because of regulatory lapses?
Yes, great. So, you know, there's this call for investment into that particular space. I recall that during the financial sector crisis, BOG came out with a lot of regulatory reforms.
Yeah.
A lot of them on directorship and other things that would have to be looked at, which is good. But the investment, we talk about it in this sense, is what? Some form of what? Monitoring and evaluation of the policy narrative you have put in place, and having systems in place to either punish or deal with people who were supposed to monitor and evaluate and report right.
Monitor, evaluate, and report.
And report right. Because you can monitor, you can evaluate, and report wrongly for whichever parochial interest you seek to achieve. So report and report right. It's very important. A lot has been rolled out. And I think that BOG would be at the forefront. They would have a compliance unit that would check some of these. It's very important that we make it robust. Of course, I always say that in as much as we may be politicking around some of these things, the key thing is that well-meaning Ghanaians, we just have to sit and delve into the issues.
Okay.
Be it political or be it non-political. I mean, what are the issues? That's what experts like us we do. Look into the issues and then see how best you can guide your clients or other institutions do what best serve the interests of both the people they serve as customers, as well as management, as well as the institution. And I think that is what we will talk about, which is very critical, I would say, to me. Monitoring and evaluation. Because some of the challenges we face in the financial service sector, that's why people kept on questioning. We have a regulator whose duty is to go in there to check. Okay, banks are having challenges. Some are being closed down and all those things. What is happening to those who may have been stationed or have been given that mandate to go and then check? Possibly I always use my words advisedly, because possibly, I always say that I may not have the fact, but then possibly, if things were done well, possibly it could have been red flagged, and certain steps could have been taken. I mean, in as much as you know that we have some cronies, some family and friends and all those things there, but then once it's red flagged, it's documented, and tomorrow, Jerry, when you pick that document, you could make some serious meaning about it and then take proactive steps. So it's very important. The challenge we have, I would say, is the monitoring and the evaluation and right reporting. It's very, very important, even if sometimes you would have to engage third parties to do those exercises. We need to do it.
Yeah.
Well, it could be that, yes, maybe Jerry and myself were all old students of some one of the senior highs. We've been buddies. I mean, sometimes it may be difficult to possibly write a report.
A damning report on me that will get me into trouble.
You know, sometimes that's the reality. I always say that sometimes when we are talking about these things, we run away from some of these challenges. But then that is the reality that sometimes people are saddled with. It takes some few people to be able to say, look, I'll report this way. Sometimes if you don't take care, your church could even come in. Traditional authorities will even come.
You've invited to your village.
Exactly. So if you have third parties doing the job, third parties with integrity, they do the job and they report as this, then you can leverage on the findings and see which findings can be addressed in the short term, which findings could lead to bringing about policy narrative that could lead to long-term successes.
Okay.
And it could also lead to some reforms. And the reforms could not only focus on, it will focus on all aspects of the industry, HR, procurement, finance, because it's a whole intertwined organizational structure. And should every part function well,
it's true. You're absolutely right. Yes. And to evaluate the performance of the non-core banking functions, most probably the regulator might not have the capacity, which is why you are saying that maybe sometime a third party will be in a position to do an amazing job.
Exactly. And some of these things will require investment. But I always say that sometimes if you look at how much you pay today, it may be high, but it's beneficial.
Yeah.
Because you make a lot of savings in future. So you are building, you are being told that, you need to put this foundation because this place is water. Oh, you get a certain contractor. That's a shoddy work. One day, it rains, and then you find your building sinking down. This is not about the flood, though. The building is sinking down.
Because you didn't invest money at the beginning. Okay. I get that. I get that analogy. Yeah.
So let's not wait for it to sink down. It's costly, but what can we do? Maybe we can do 10% now, but have that strategy in place so that if you and I are not there and someone else comes, the person can follow through.
It's true.
The roadmap.
It's important for M&E, that's monitoring and evaluation, across board for all these. Let's even use the banks specifically. Whose pockets should be hit, BOG or the banks, in terms of ensuring that the regulations that are put in place are strictly adhered to? Who should pay for it, BOG or the banks?
No, you see, the banks make some payments to the BOG.
Yes.
You understand?
Because BOG provides services for them.
Exactly. So it's a win-win situation. At one breath, it will hit the pocket of BOG. At another breath,
but BOG will collect it from them.
Exactly. So it's, you understand me? So it's about the regulator making sure that you get a buy-in of the people that you are regulating. You get them to understand the essence of having a robust and a compact sector. Because in the end, we all benefit.
Yeah.
Assuming that this financial service crisis led to the collapse of all banks in Ghana, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Currently, the DDP program has affected a lot of investment that people made. People are now tilting towards equity financing. What we all learned in school, that government bonds and are risk-free, has now been...
There's proving that there's no risk-free like that.
The proponents of the theory will now look back and say, look, this has now been tested.
Yeah. It's true. You're absolutely right.
It's been tested. So then it now brings this question. Is it really risk-free? Or it was just a myth that we had to believe in? Is it really risk-free? Possibly. I mean, at the time of propounding these theories, it was. Possibly. Maybe because of the measures they've put in place and how the market was structured. But has it stood the test of time? And in recent times, we have all seen. So if you go to the stock exchange, a lot of people are tilting towards equity financing now.
Yeah.
Because, that mantra is a bit of a challenge now. Investor confidence is also a bit of a challenge. People are not certain where to put their monies. And of course, some may say we can put it in real estate.
Yeah,
the
Ghana
may not have the capacity.
Yeah.
But the money must go somewhere.
So you would say, if you are not too convinced about government stocks and bonds, look to the GSE.
Possibly, because that is the analysis you'd have to do. You need to get a very good investment advisor. And I always say that most of the times in Ghana, we are not aligned with advisory services.
I think so. I 100% think so.
We are not. We think that, they will pay much. But, you see, get a better financial advisory officer, get a better tax consultant, get a better banking consultant for them to run you through. Of course, you hold them liable.
Okay, yeah, because they are professionals.
Exactly.
So there will be contract here and there. If they give you wrong advice, you could take them on. But I know what happens in Ghana is simple. Gilbert is my friend, and I know Gilbert is with Deloitte Ghana. I'll call him Charlie. boy, I won't do this. So I mean, Charlie.
For me, I always say that after speaking to you, I'll tell you that this is my independent opinion. Because I'll issue that caveat so that tomorrow you don't say
Deloitte went to advise me wrongly.
No, if you want a formal advice, if you want us to take the risk, because the risk will come with a reward. You understand me? And most of the time, people may not want to provide that consideration. So it becomes a working document, and because the party providing that particular advisory services is also aware that, look, if I dare not provide you with what is right, I stand to be held liable.
Yeah, so they would also be forced to do what is
exactly.
right. It's true.
Exactly.
Let's talk, since we're talking tech and financial services, we can't run away from cybersecurity.
Yeah.
What are the threats to the financial services industry from cybersecurity?
For cybersecurity, I always say that it's always been a global issue.
Yeah.
And governments in every country would take steps to ensure that these cybersecurity issues are addressed. The call in Ghana is investment.
Yeah.
It's very important that we ensure that we are putting in the right investment to bring in the right infrastructure to address some of these things. One thing we always lose sight of is that those who are engaged in cybersecurity are people who are smart.
Yeah.
These hackers.
You have to be smart to do that kind of work. Yeah.
These hackers are very smart and they are always ahead of the game. So if you don't put in the right investment to be always ahead of the game, you'll be found wanting. And it requires infrastructure. It requires people with the requisite skill sets who understand that space and who can recommend the measures that you would have to put in place. So it's something that you cannot joke with if you are in a financial service sector, as well as even other sectors.
Exactly.
Other sectors.
So long as you're going to go tech.
Exactly. So it's not only peculiar to the financial service space, but of course, because of the subject matter, that's why we are hitting it around that area. It's very important. People, and you need to have infrastructure that looks at issues inwardly and outwardly. When I say inwardly, any cyber crime starts from people within.
Okay, there must be inside people.
People, for instance, Jerry, if I come to your house and I'm coming to take your money, I won't say I'm coming to rob so that tomorrow, but God forbid,
tomorrow if I don't find some of my coins, I'll look for Gilbert.
So you see, and I walk straight. I walk straight to where you have kept your money.
Somebody give you the information.
How do I know that you kept your money there? Someone in there would have given that information. So it's a whole, that's why you call it an organized crime. Like it's something that is well coordinated. So if you want to be able to address that, you need to have the right investment to also run a well coordinated infrastructure to be able to plug in the loopholes that could likely come up. Because whatever you do, the loopholes will be triggered.
Okay.
You know, when laws are passed in order to, let's say, cover a loophole possibly in some of the laws. For instance, our tax laws, there are always amendments. Some of the amendment is to plug in some of the loopholes that exist. But in as much as, I'm not a lawyer, but the lawyers will tell you that in as much as you try to bring up measures to, block some of these loopholes, you also tend to create other loopholes.
Yeah. That's what happens. You cover this place.
Exactly.
It's true. Because you mentioned tax, let's go into tax.
Yes.
Two very important and interesting suggestions by the current VIP. That if you were given the nod, first of all, the tax amnesty, the holiday thing, and then also the flat tax rate. You being a tax expert, what are your thoughts on this? Because I am interested in the slate being wiped clean. That's for starters. And then also the flat rate. What are your thoughts on this?
Great. So let's start based on I think that government already have been at the forefront of providing what we call the tax amnesty.
Okay.
And unfortunately, some people did not get that information quickly.
And the time passed.
Yes. And I always say that that's why you always have to be in touch with the right channel to get information. Because for the clientele base we serve, there's no way you won't get that information, because I'm held bound.
Yeah.
To provide you.
You would do that for us.
The bit of you taking that step, I cannot take that step for you, because you also have to do your cost benefit analysis.
Okay.
So it's good that the VIP has that intention, but we need to look at the cost benefit analysis. I always say that we have run a tax amnesty, and this is what happens when you do a tax amnesty. The processes that come and self-declare, and when you have interest and you have penalties, which are also tax revenue to government, is also set aside. So I presume that maybe the VID may have done that cost benefit analysis to do by looking at what the tax cost, which is the interest and the penalties that were written off, and the principal that was paid. If you do the netting of effect, was it beneficial?
Okay.
That is what I will talk about before I even think about whatever the VIP said. Is it okay? For businesses, it will be okay. But how does it also align with revenue mobilization? How would this policy narrative inure to tax compliance? Would it help people to comply voluntarily? All these assessments would have to be done. I believe that they would have done that. I believe that they may have some report from Ministry of Finance that may back that comment. If it is something that was said on a campaign platform, possibly then it may have to be interrogated. But from where I sit, and looking at the tax amnesty that was brought on board some time back, I have not chanced on the cost benefit analysis report. I have not chanced on that. But I'm just hoping that maybe that is there and that has yielded good returns for government, and hence his proposal that should be done. But you see, IMF is currently in the country assessing our economic performance. And one of the key things that is on the table is our ability to mobilize sufficient revenue. When I was coming here, I listened to Professor Bobkin, and he said something that was very, very, very good. He said, look, we are looking at revenue mobilization, but we are not looking at fiscal discipline. Don't forget that if you look at fiscal discipline, meaning cutting down our expenditure cost, it's also a way of mobilizing revenue, because you make some savings.
Yeah, you save. Yeah, it's true. Absolutely true.
You make some savings. So we need to then look at how we in as much as you want to bring in more revenue, create that tax space for people to operate. Is there any long-term measure to be able to meet your revenue estimates?
Interesting.
It's very important.
Yeah. Because if you are bringing in the money and you are overspending or you are misusing it, you're still back to square one.
No, it's just like you are going in circles. You're going in circles. And it's something that, as a country, devoid of politics, is something that we would have to look at. Devoid of politics. Because I always say that government will come and go, but the people will still be the people.
Government will come and go.
The people will still be the people.
But the people will still be
the people. Will still be there. Government will come and go. If you work at the ministries, and let's say you are a director, no government can necessarily come and say, Jerry, step aside.
Yeah.
You know, the public sector has its own rules and regulations. So they will come and go, but you still be there.
It's true.
So it's very important that we do this cost benefit. So all these tax measures are good.
Yeah.
They are good because they broad objective is to make sure that we are raking in the necessary revenue. And when we look at our GDP as compared to other developing economies, we are there. But it is also important that we look at other alternative sources of raking in revenue, which is very, very important. I think that last year, I've been saying this on other platforms, last year or so, the UK president, the UK Prime Minister, said something to the UK citizens. He was like, look, we are not going to increase taxes, but we are rather going to increase visa fees. Why? Because you and I want to go to UK.
Other ways of raking in money. Other countries are thinking about it. Thank you so much.
Good.
We've been talking to Mr. Gilbert Yurinchiado, who is a senior manager, business tax and regulatory with Deloitte Ghana, and we've been going deep into the financial services industry and having an outlook of it. He has to come back because the conversation is just beginning. Unfortunately, that's all time would allow us to do. So yes, we'll be coming back with another conversation. Ghana is to join the organization of the International Organization of La Francophonie, an organization representing countries and regions where French is a language that is adopted as a common language between speakers whose native languages are different. Ghana is going French. That is the whole discussion. We'll be coming back right after this.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Montre-moi le printemps sur Jupiter ou Mars. En d'autres termes, prends ma main. En d'autres termes, embrasse-moi. Puis mon cœur d'une chanson, laisse-moi chanter à tue-tête. Tu es tout ce que je veux, ce que j'admire et je respecte.
working with a colleague. They'll introduce themselves, and you know what? I'm going to ask them to do that. Something tells me if I attempt to mention it, it would display my the fact that I don't have a single French bone in my body. You're welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Merci.
Here we go. The Messi, I know. Okay. Yeah. At least I know Messi. I know a couple of them. Bonjour, yes. Sava, I know those ones. But aside that, I could get into trouble. So, yes. Helen?
Oui?
Don't do this. Okay, how would you pronounce the full name?
Don't worry.
How would you pronounce the full name? Hélène
Genot Okutwe.
Here we go. Hélène Genot Okutwe.
Yes.
Did I get it right?
Yes.
Brilliant. And
I'm Eileen Uyafe.
Eileen is also here. First of all, let's start with the directive. Why is there a need for Ghana to join La Francophonie? Why is this a big deal? Are we not all right where we are? Helen is laughing.
Yes, I'm laughing because it's so evident. You know, Ghana is surrounded by Francophone countries.
Yes.
Each time you have one foot on the other part of your frontier, you are in a Francophone country.
It's true.
Yeah. So how can the Ghanaian do business in the sub-region without speaking French? You know how Francophone people are.
Yeah, if you don't speak their language.
Yes, and they are not very fluent in English, if I can say it like that. Like for French people, most of the time we don't speak good English. So if Ghanaians speak English and French, you have all the chances to develop your business.
Yeah. Okay. So that is a good enough reason. We're surrounded by 3 Francophone countries and the Gulf of Guinea. So we have no other choice than to get into the French conversation. But we're not a bilingual country, sadly so. Why now? Why do we need to do the French thing? We've lasted for a while. I mean, since 1957, we've been here. Why the need now? Why is Ghana trying to join this thing? Is that going to help in making us bilingual, if I may ask? If we joined OIF, how is that going to help us become bilingual?
First, OIF, it's a big organization, like Commonwealth, in fact, but for Francophone countries.
Okay.
That means you will have access to the other Francophone countries. And that means you know how it is. You do relations, you know people, and of course, to develop your country is easier. And Francophonie, we share also some values.
Okay.
You know, like en français.
Look for an English word. It will come.
No, yes, we share some values. Eileen, you can help me.
What are some of the values that these French countries share that it's important Ghana joins?
So basically, I would say a sense of community.
Okay.
So first and foremost, I would say that it's important that Ghana is a part of OIF because of the benefits to it. Because for a long time, language has been a barrier between these, our neighboring countries. But then if Ghana decides to become a full-blown Francophone member, there are so many opportunities out there for Ghanaians. So there won't be the let me say, the gap of, okay, I can't apply for a job outside of Ghana, let's say a job in Togo.
Okay.
I can't apply for a job in Cote d'Ivoire. I can't. There's this connect. It's easier.
Okay. What role is Alliance Française going to play in all of this?
Alors.
Yeah.
Alliance Française, we are not the French embassy. We are not the French government. Okay?
Definitely. Yeah.
It's a local association led by a local board. As a director, Alliance Française is the biggest cultural network in the world. We are in 135 countries, and we have more than 800 branches. In Ghana, you have 5 Alliance Française. In Accra, Kumasi, Cape Coast, Takoradi, and Tema.
Okay.
Each Alliance Française is independent.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh.
Yes, you cannot have an Alliance Française if a local committee doesn't want it.
Okay.
Okay?
I didn't know that.
Now you know.
Now I know.
So the link between France and Ghana, it's myself, in fact, because I'm an agent of the French government.
Okay.
But I'm here to run Alliance Française that is independent.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
Okay.
Yes?
Independent in what way? In terms of revenue generation, everything?
Yes, we do what we want. That's what I like, in fact.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay? Yes, we got some very few subventions on dedicated projects.
Okay.
Okay? But we organize what we want, and our revenues are our classes. We teach French, English, and Twi.
You teach Twi at Alliance?
Yes, of course. Our main goals are we have to promote French language and also the local languages.
Interesting.
It's not only French, because Alliance Française is really a bridge between French and Francophone countries, cultures, and languages.
So listeners, luckily for me, my colleague Emanuela is here. Emanuela Savoye is here. She speaks French. So Emanuela, come sit behind the mic. And now let's talk French. Let's not here. I want you to switch roles so that you speak French for me, so that whatever she says, and if she's bullying me, then you would come in for me. Or you're gonna you're all laughing in the studio, please. Now I have a lawyer. There she sits. That's my legal. She's gonna do anything.
Vraiment? Ok.
Oui,
Bonjour.
Vraiment. Bonjour, moi c'est Emanuela.
Hélène, enchantée.
Oui, enchantée.
Vous allez bien?
Oui, je vais très bien.
Ok.
Je suis vraiment contente aujourd'hui. Et je veux juste savoir. Have we begun? No,
I mean, sorry. You already took up the show, so do what you're doing. I don't know what you're talking about. Just make sure you tell me after what you are saying.
Non, bon, merci pour cette opportunité. Moi, vraiment, j'aime bien le français parce que je l'ai appris au lycée, à l'université et aussi en France. J'ai fait l'année à l'étranger. Pour moi, c'est vraiment important. Mon père aussi parle français.
Oui, j'ai vu. Je l'ai rencontré déjà.
Ok, d'accord. Et donc, pour moi, c'est, comme j'ai déjà dit, c'est vraiment important parce que nous sommes entourés par les pays francophones. Donc, comment va-t-on améliorer l'expérience ici au Ghana quand on apprend le français?
Comment améliorer, vous voulez dire le bilinguisme?
Oui,
c'est ça, l'enseignement du français?
Oui.
Alors, je pense qu'il y a un gros souci au Ghana, c'est qu'à chaque fois que des élèves viennent nous voir, ils nous disent que le français est un problème par la manière dont il est enseigné, en fait. Beaucoup de Ghanéens détestaient leur professeur de français, comme l'a dit notre cher animateur ce matin. Et ça, c'est quelque chose que je ne comprends pas, en fait. Pourquoi c'est comme ça? Donc, il faut changer la manière d'enseigner. Nous, à l'Alliance Française, on enseigne d'une manière actionnelle, c'est-à-dire qu'on met l'élève au cœur de l'apprentissage. C'est pas le professeur qui détient tout le savoir. D'accord? Donc, il y a des connexions qui se font dans la classe entre les élèves eux-mêmes.
Listeners, it's still Zed in the morning. It's still Zed in the morning. Let's not get it. This is Zed in the morning. Just that it's become a French Monday. I don't. What were you saying?
So basically, I was speaking about how important French is. Just like you said, we're surrounded by francophone countries.
Okay.
So I was asking how we can improve upon the experience when it comes to teaching French. And she was speaking about how in Ghana most of us hated French, probably because of like our French teachers or something. I had quite the opposite experience. I had really good French teachers. From primary to SHS, A-level, even in university. So it was a very beneficial experience for me. But I find that the majority of Ghanaians,
we all didn't like.
They didn't like French.
Monsieur was somewhere. Everybody's Monsieur was somewhere.
As you said, so I think that first of all you need to change the way you teach French. In fact, in Alliance Française, we have really a special way.
Okay.
So, and first of all, the majority of our students are adults.
Yeah.
Okay. So first, it's different to teach to adults than to teach to children. We have a special method. Okay. It's la méthode actionnelle. That means you do actions, and it's a communicative way. Okay, so you are not. The communications are not only teacher to students, but also students to students.
Okay.
Okay, and really it makes a big changes. In fact, so yes, we have a special way to teach, and we do also training for French teachers.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
We help them to improve, to get new professional skills, and I think that's our role, in fact, here.
Yeah.
Yes.
To improve the learning of French.
Yes.
That's interesting.
I actually give lessons to this French child, and I think I would really need that.
Oh, wow.
Oui, parce que j'ai commencé à faire les leçons pour un enfant, quoi. Ça s'appelle Michel, oui. Donc, si je peux améliorer ça, moi, je serais très
yes,
quoi.
yes. Yes, we organize regularly some sessions of trainings for teachers, yes.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. So more like a refresher course. If you're a French teacher
yes.
and you're listening to us, you want to go to Alliance. And what about informal ways of learning French? What does that look like? I mean, for you and is there some classes being organized aside Alliance that Alliance is organizing this somewhere, maybe a Saturday morning, 2 hours something, then a busy professional goes there, or it has to be formal. If I came to Alliance, will I have a short course what would be the shortest duration for a course in Alliance?
2 hours? No, we have a lot of different ways to teach. You can come to Alliance Française. We can send you a teacher. You can take private class.
Wow.
We train also. We send teachers in companies or in institutions. And we have online classes. And very soon we are going to start a new project. It's for executive people, completely online classes. And when you are ready, you call your teacher and you have a chat with him for 40 minutes every week.
Oh, wow. I would like to join that. My colleague, Kweku Yankson, knows zilch about French, so I'll try and register Kweku Yankson on this very course. Yeah.
Yes.
I just want to help him out. Any last words? I mean, for us at Zed, we're so interested in French that we'll try and do a lot more with you, and especially for our listeners. It's something that we're quite interested in. Any last words from Alliance Française before you take a leave of us? I know it's a busy morning for you, but any last words for our listeners?
Alliance Française is open to all. We do classes, but we also organize cultural events, and most of them are free, completely free.
Okay.
So it's very accessible, and I encourage every Ghanaian to come to Alliance Française. We have 2 restaurants. The place is very beautiful. The atmosphere is really special. So yes, come and enjoy yourself at Alliance Française.
Okay. To take this segment away, Emanuela, just say what she said in French. All that she said.
Ok. Elle a dit qu'Alliance Française, nous offrons beaucoup d'opportunités pour apprendre la langue française. Il y a le cadre culturel qu'on peut montrer comment apprendre la langue et c'est pas du tout difficile.
Yeah.
Oui, c'est ça. Et je voulais dire que l'Alliance Française est ouverte à tous.
Oh oui.
C'est ouvert à tout le monde.
Oui.
Okay, do a vote of thanks in French for her. On behalf of Zed Multimedia, especially vote of thanks in French.
De notre partie, nous sommes très heureux de vous avoir ici et on espère de collaborer pour cette opportunité ou bien des opportunités pour le futur, dans le futur. Merci.
Avec plaisir. Merci beaucoup pour l'invitation.
I heard a lot of tre. That has to be very, right?
Yes. I was saying that we're
very
happy to
I'm
have
better
her
than Mr. Kweku Yankson. I told you. Thank you so much for coming through today. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. That's Zed in the morning. We'll come back with today. Don't forget, it's Personal Development Monday. So we have a guest here, and I'm also told by a little bit that she also speaks French. So when she comes, we'll start a personal development in a line of French. Today it's going French. Zed in the morning. We'll be coming back right after this.
It's your lifestyle.
Now we say that EQ is a big deal.
Yes.
What happened?
You see, we went into a phase where the alphas, when I talk about alphas, these individuals in the workplace with extremely high intelligence, their IQs are high, they are driven, they are ambitious, they deliver. So they basically are your business runners. They're the ones that if you have in your business, they're taking up all the leadership roles. And what we realized at some point, I think in the 90s, was that these individuals were lacking something. So they have business understanding. They are key to driving results, but some of them barely brought along the team. So there was a research that brought to the fore that there was something else that was needed in addition to this intelligence, logical intelligence, that actually gives you the edge. So you would have a leader who knows the business, who has everything that is required, but can barely work with others. So we say that if you don't have the EQ, your high IQ is actually more of a liability now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then we began to be a lot more emotionally intelligent.
No, we began to be a lot more aware of the need for emotional intelligence.
So what is emotional intelligence?
Awesome. So it's basically three things. Being aware of and understanding your own emotions, being aware of and understanding others' emotions, and leveraging these understandings for personal relationships to deliver results. So it's not only in business, it's actually in all sorts of relationships. So it could be in marriages, it could be in social relationships or social organizations as well. But in business, it's a big deal. It's a huge deal. Yeah.
So 3 things.
Yes.
Listeners, we're looking intrapersonal.
Yes.
Interpersonal, and then how you can use
that to deliver results.
Interesting. In your experience, is the average Ghanaian emotionally intelligent?
This morning on one of our pages, I was reading something about IQ, and Ghana is ranking lowest, and it's very, very sad. I don't know where these measures come from. But there is something that underpins emotional intelligence, I've realized, from the work that I do as a certified values-based culture consultant. What I see is that an environment or a socialization that values values.
I get it. I mean, if
so the verb and the noun actually creates a lot more awareness for individuals. So you have a group of people who have values, and these values are driving a lot of the things that they do. You come to realize that these individuals are a lot more emotionally intelligent. We as a people are not exactly in a place where we can exactly boast of the fact that we value our values.
We don't?
We are driving towards what I don't know, for instance.
So we live in the values rather.
As an individual who works in that space, I hear every conversation, pick it from spiritual, marital, financial, economical, political, social. And I'll tell you that if we went back to the conversation of values, a lot of the knots we are having will begin to unravel. So as a people, we're losing it. I'm driving and I know that I have the right of way, but the other driver is not in an exactly good position considering his environment. If I'm emotionally intelligent or I'm emotionally aware and considerate, I would overlook my need to be right and give way, because then it serves a bigger purpose. But what we have is, no, I don't care.
I also have the right of way. I have
the right. Worse is when the person doesn't have the right, bullies their way through and actually stands to defend it. So I'm beginning to realize that a lot more conversation has to be around our values so that we can be more aware of ourselves and the people that we work with. So if you brought it to the place of work, people are not looking out for their own. I don't mind what I have to do to be able to get that promotion so long as I am on that seat. how it serves the next person, how it serves the team, how it serves even me in 2 years does not matter. I'm getting it now because it comes with the money. So we're in a place where this conversation is more than important.
Wow. Never thought of it that way, that the more materialistic we become, the further away from our cultural values, and then that affects our emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Emotional intelligence, is it trained or is it inherent? Are you born with it?
I like that question. It's the same conversations we've been having with IQ for decades, and now we've moved away. So they're both. Some people are just more considerate than others, naturally, but it is more than trainable. So I get a lot of invitations to train organizations on emotional intelligence. And I'm telling you what, when we have conversations about talent at the executive level, so you have an exco sitting around the table talking about who is our next COO, who is our next CEO, who takes over this business development internationally. We are moving away from people who just understand the business and numbers to people who can think of their own feelings, manage those feelings and those of others to leverage for business growth. So it is trainable. It is one of the things, just as every personal development trait, that's a stuff. You've been made, you have groomed, you have formed. So it's a process of unmaking you to remake you. And nobody likes that because it's tough.
I mean,
but it is doable.
So when you go training corporate Ghana,
yes,
what are some of the exercises or theories? Or what are you telling them that when you come to work, smile a lot more, or what? I'm wondering.
No, it goes beyond that. We're telling them about, okay, so after being aware of your own emotions, being able to label them, using that to negotiate or leverage with your colleagues, what does it really do? So why should I bother? I mean, if I know I'm an accountant and I'm certified and I know all my stuff, why bother? I'm an ops person, I'm a marketing person. I mean, I'm a radio presenter, good. I've got talent. Why bother to be emotionally intelligent? I'm telling you what, it stems from a place of awareness, self-awareness. You know, sometimes you feel, does this person really know what he or she is doing?
Okay.
So I want to be sure that you know that this leverages on your benefit because it makes you more self-aware.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know themselves, and it's just like leadership. You cannot lead yourself, but you want to lead others. It will be a big problem. So being aware of yourself is the first thing. That's what it gives you. Then it helps you to manage yourself. When you hear somebody says, should have met me 5 years ago, you would not be standing here. This individual is just telling you that I have grown.
Okay.
And it's refreshing when, as people who work on individuals' leadership and personal growth, we see that people are talking about where I used to be and where I am now. It's exciting. It really is. It also makes you socially aware. So you go into a place, like you interviewed Madame from Alliance Française, and you know, you need to be aware that, okay, she's French.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that I could do and not do in this space to make her feel welcome?
Okay.
Because she zooms into a studio where everybody's Ghanaian, even those speaking French are Ghanaian. So there's a sort of a nod for her. And that awareness will help you make her feel more relaxed.
Okay.
So you get into a place, maybe you know you're great and you're brought into a team that's struggling. You don't come in, but yes, I know.
I'm the boss. I'm the new guy.
You know, I know. That's why they brought me here. So everybody shut up and listen to me. But they've been there for a while. Being aware socially helps you to recognize that they may know something that's probably been misapplied. So how do I leverage on that to be able to bring out the best out of them? And that then bridges your own relationships with them. And look, I've seen leaders who don't know technically as much have a team that would do everything to see them succeed. And I've seen leaders that know more than enough for the role they're in, and they're simply not getting anywhere because the team is unwilling to work for them. The difference is that one is emotionally intelligent and is using that to get the team to work for him whereas the other one thinks that IQ will win the day.
Let me find out. Do we become more emotionally intelligent as we grow?
Not necessarily. It's not an automatic process.
But by and large, does age make us a lot more smarter emotionally?
Some people learn to let go. It's not necessarily that intelligence we are looking for.
Okay.
Some people just learn. I mean, you get into a business and people are like, oh, let her go on. She'll stop right now. So this individual has figured that you don't have to fight everything. But it doesn't mean that they are leveraging on that. So they're just quiet. And that's actually worse.
So the key point is, not only do you understand your own emotions and the emotions of the other person, but you must also be able to leverage.
Okay. You need to use it to a certain end. And what is that end we are looking at today? Productivity. Because if you go into a workplace where, okay, the leader is emotionally intelligent, I understand myself, I understand you, then what? Because the employer is not looking for people who are smiling with each other every day till the end of the day. Yeah. They're looking for individuals that can use that for the bottom line, because that's why we do business. So we're looking at, okay, if I'm emotionally intelligent, I do then understand, for instance, that I have a team of 5 and they have different energy banks.
Okay.
Some people come in the morning and they're giving me 120%. But by 2 p.m., if I give them anything serious, they're gone. Some will come, loiter on in the morning, say hello and hi to everybody till it's about 2, and then they start working. So if I have tasks for them, I need to even be more aware of who to give what to, depending on my needs as a leader. And if I am a colleague of such an individual, booking my meetings, asking for collaborative times for projects, I need to know. So I don't go to somebody who just wants to be alone in the morning, doing solo work, asking for us to have a team discussion.
Emotional awareness.
Awareness, yes.
So the point I want to ask is, could somebody also who is emotionally intelligent use the emotional intelligence to, as it were, con somebody, or to use it negatively? Can I use my smartness negatively? Like IQ, I can use it to embarrass you. Can I use my emotional intelligence?
People do. Some people do. Some people use it to lobby negatively. Some people use it to get a following on crusades that are not necessarily beneficial. So to everything that has a huge positive benefits, there's obviously an opportunity to misapply it. So that's a misapplication of your emotional intelligence. And look, Jerry, I'm telling you, if you get to a place where the leaders are emotionally intelligent, you can tell. When I enter a workplace and I see when people are using hardcore IQ to work. I visited a leader recently. Wow. And I mean, when I got in, I had an appointment with him. I got in and he was standing with his team talking, and the guys were just laughing, and, you know, he was talking and he was like, oh, please come in. And I went in. I said, you seem to have a very young team. They're all Gen Zs. He said, yeah, I asked for them. I'm like, okay, how are you dealing with that? So my colleagues are always laughing at me because, you know, sometimes there's a 23-year-old that walks up and say, hey, bro. What he has agreed with himself is he's looking for a particular skill in this generation. They don't necessarily come looking for hierarchical, bureaucratic organizations. But if he's looking for data-driven, data analysis, people who are using current AI tools to deliver his business results, he's getting it from that generation. So he's not going to be hung up about somebody calling him Mr. So and so. He's happy to do and then they catch themselves. But what he has smartly done is to inculcate the organization's values of respect. So you're saying, hey, bro, but he tells me something very, he's like, nobody in my team will walk across the streets and go and buy something in black polythene bag and be just swinging it around and coming in. So there's a culture he's looking to build. And that is the beauty. That really is the beauty. It's not about using it to get everybody to follow you, but understanding that, okay, this is where this person is coming from. How do I want this meeting of ideas, of IQs, of needs to deliver the business results so both of us can benefit?
Okay.
Yeah.
That I find quite interesting. Does the generation have an impact
Oh, yes.
on the EQ?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Gen Ys, baby boomers, Gen Zs, alphas. I mean,
you left out millennials.
Yeah, the millennials. yeah, the millennials as well.
Yes.
Does that have an effect on them?
Yes.
In what way?
And the interesting thing is that every generation thinks the one behind is worse.
Yeah.
What we fail to recognize is that the world is going in directions that will not go backwards. But I do challenge that thought that I've just said, though, to say that no, I saw the AI generated meat, like beef, the video of that. There's going to be a time where a certain class of individuals in the society are going to go back to the days of cavemanship, because it will become the ish and the most elite version of living.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Where we will be so scared of the concrete jungle that we'll go back to
nature, and then it will reset and we'll go through the whole process again. So generation yes, we tend to think that the Gen Zers and even worse, the alphas have low emotional intelligence. Let's put it in context. You're growing up with a certain reality. How much of internet did you have in secondary school?
Yeah, almost zero.
Yes.
Yeah.
How much travels did you do if you came from an average home?
None. You just go to your village.
That's it. Every Christmas we all meet there.
Yeah.
Or you're doing Accra at best. Yeah. That's like the biggest place you would come to. And these children are traveling. By 4 months, my baby was on my laps. I was sitting in the boardroom breastfeeding. Wow. You're not expecting that baby to grow up thinking the same way I thought when my mother was fully home with grandmas and aunties and everybody at my back. No, this baby is being shuttled off and on airplanes. So the environment is going to make people act differently. Question is, what are we consciously doing to inculcate very good values so that irrespective of this high technological advancement, these people would know that as people, as social beings, some things are always supposed to be. We're supposed to be kind. We're supposed to be empathetic. We're supposed to be respectful. These things don't go out of vogue. It doesn't matter how much technologically advanced we are, they are so very relevant.
Let's stretch the discussion into other areas aside business. Let's look at parenting, friendships, relationships. Mm-hmm. How important is emotional intelligence to maintaining these things?
Take yourself as an example. In your circle of friends, there are people you tell specific things to.
Yeah.
If you had some news, there are specific people you would pick a phone and call.
Definitely.
What's informing that?
My guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's coming from a place of knowing how they would react.
Okay.
So naturally you will think that, this bad news or great news, the next person I have to call is my spouse, my parent or my sibling. But not necessarily so, because this is so bad. The other person is going to make you feel that the world is crumbling.
It's true.
So you're going to look for somebody who will just listen and say, okay, Jerry, great. So yeah, you're fine. All right. What next? You're needing that because PT loves party.
Yeah.
So if you know you're emotionally intelligent, being aware of your own levels, because you know that you cannot deal with sad news as well, and know the emotional levels of your friends, you know who to go to.
Okay.
People are drawn to you because they don't find you to be in a never-ending frantic mode. Sometimes you're like, this guy's like a rock. He doesn't get moved.
Yeah.
But it's beyond that. It's being able to just shut up and listen to the person, moan and be so sad, and being there excited with the other person. So when it comes to friendship, being emotionally intelligent is about drawing people into a space of safety, into a space of growth. I get people to tell me things that I know that the closest person to them may never get to hear in their lifetimes, because I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to, come down hard on you. But when it comes to telling you the truth, one of the things that I found, and I didn't know that I had that through my 360 feedback in corporate, was that, Mommy, you do have tough conversations. I don't know how you do it, but you're able to do that. It doesn't come easily. It's not because you're so brute. It's just you find a way of having these conversations that everybody is shying away from. So that's for friendship. In family and parenting, have you seen a child throw tantrums in a place where you really want to show everybody that, look, I'm this parent that's got it. I'm bringing this boy up very well. Let me tell you my personal story. My boy must have been 3 years, where was it the Danish or we're getting a Schengen visa. And this boy would run up and down, and there was a big vase of glass something. I remember it was a glass something. He would go around. I'm like, Papa,
if you push it and it falls.
Papa? And when we're in public, I speak my mother tongue with him.
Okay.
So I'll speak in Fanti with him. And I'll pull him back and he will go back. And I was so sure that something was going to happen. Lo and behold, Jerry, he pushes the vase down.
Here we go. Breakages and damages.
Breaking it, and every pair of eye in the place is on me.
Like, can't you control your kid?
No, it was
what kind of woman are you?
You're going to have to punish that boy. Like, we heard you tell him to stop, and he didn't. You need to let him know. That's when I just pulled him. I pushed him into my armpit. And then I went to where I thought I could get help first to clear the mess and ask if there are any damage payments that I needed to. At that point, Jerry, he was feeling the pressure of everybody else. He was feeling the pressure of consequences. He knew if we were home, I would spank him. I wasn't going to do that in public. I didn't have to prove to anybody that I was a parent that's got it, So I disappointed everybody by just pulling my son in. And when we got into the car, I dealt with him the way I needed to deal with him. So being emotionally intelligent as a parent is when you're able to differentiate when you need to be harsh, where you need to be harsh, for what you need to be harsh, and where you're even disciplining. And look, the children pick our energies. So they'll know. There are things that they'll do with you they will never do with your wife. And there are things that they'll do with mommy that they know that this is not a that thing. So they pick off these energies. But I'm telling you, if you're emotionally intelligent and you understand the children, you realize that children, the best time to punish a child is not when they have actually broken something, for instance. So in parenting, it helps us to understand the child's emotions at the place where we need to, and understanding our own reactions. And we come from a place where whenever you broke something, you're punished. So it has to be very well cultured into the way you're dealing with your child.
That's interesting. Is that why our mothers would wait and beat us in the midnight?
In the bedroom. When there's no one.
I mean, if you do something during the daytime.
She would give you that eye.
Yeah.
When we go in, we show inside.
Oh, here we go. So what? Even without they understanding the rudiments of emotional intelligence,
they were practicing it, and a lot better than we do now. We are socially influenced into reacting. They knew when to pick. That's the timing bit of emotional intelligence.
Wow.
Yes. And remember,
who taught them?
It came from their upbringing values. Remember, you would have a mother who will not beat you at every turn, but the day she grabs you, my goodness, she starts reciting everything. It had its own negatives, but the truth is that it wouldn't have helped as well if they were hitting you at every turn. So it's the values of knowing that you don't always have to issue the punishment. Remember the line, praise in public, punish in private. Yes.
Praise in public, punish in private.
Yes.
Okay, so let's come back into the world of business.
Of work.
I want to ask this. It's been said that the average Ghanaian is among the friendliest in the world. However, in terms of customer service, we're said to be terrible. Is it a challenge of emotional intelligence?
Jerry, we don't take a lot of things serious in this country, unfortunately. One of them is the needs of others. And yes, this stems from being emotionally intelligent. You go to a place where you're paying for service and the person actually thinks they're doing you a favor.
Yeah.
So people that are asking for the regular service levels are seen to be, you're doing too much. You're asking for too much.
You're too known.
You're too known. You're too demanding. So people take you from that place of, where do do? Before they offer you the basics. If you go to a place and you see a young person or even an older service person come to you and smile, you're like, oh, mine, that's refreshing.
That's different.
But that's supposed to be the daily norm.
Oh, okay.
So customer service, even employee relationship in the office, coming in and knowing that, yes, I like that you want to listen to your own music, but having your headset on throughout your work hours is not necessarily what everybody is looking forward to, because we want to be able to communicate with you. Even if you don't want to talk to us, hear what's happening in your environment. You know, a customer walks in and sometimes customers come to you and they have no clue what they are looking for. But they know that they need help. How to unearth that. So we teach something in our customer service training that talks about how to figure out what they know they need, but they cannot express it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it happens. And that's like when you are getting into this client's wallet.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because he has the money or she has the money, you must learn to treat the person well.
Exactly.
So someone is listening to us and saying, how do I know my EQ or my emotional intelligence level? How do I know personally? What do I do? Is there somewhere I can go find out?
Yes, so there are surveys that we deliver to measure emotional intelligence. There are exercises that we do to figure out. You can be put in a simulation exercise to figure out, and especially in the world of talent now, when we're doing talent deployment to senior levels or specialized roles, we do those exercises or assessments to figure out but emotional intelligence is really about simulation, putting people in situations to see how they would react or act. And a lot of the times you find that people think, this is it, I'm not emotionally intelligent. It's not true. There's a way to learn it. Just like every other intelligence, there's a learning. But people have natural tendencies. So those natural tendencies are there, they're fine, but we can work on them.
Okay.
Yes.
With the growing importance of emotional intelligence in the workplace, it means that interviews must change.
Oh, we have changed them.
No, what do you know about a company? What are our vision and mission?
They are the mechanical things.
Okay.
They are the mechanical things. Jerry, we do different things for hiring now.
Oh,
depending on the levels, yes. That's why at some levels you don't get into a panel. You can be invited to a lunch, but you're being interviewed.
Wow.
We can talk about the weather all day. We can talk about climate change, but I could decipher whether you're fit for this role or not. We do different things. And the way the world of work is going and the way talent is going, you can't use just one thing to determine this person is good or not. You need to do different things and allow individuals to also express themselves in their own terrains so that you can figure whether this is good. And let me tell you what, I've had instances where we've had a very brilliant, technically savvy individual, great for the job, like 98% qualified for the competences. And we've said no, because we were situating this individual in the team that he's going to work with, and we see the clash. So it's about how you're fitting into the team as well. Now, we don't hire you as just you. Even when you're working in a virtual space, we're looking at how you're gelling with the other people, what your own values are, and how they sit with our culture, what this culture will mean for you if being relevant in society is not a big deal for you, it's about your person and individual and just you, then maybe this organization is not for you, because we are looking to grow the society into a certain form. So different things are happening at different levels. It depends on the culture of the organization. It depends on the industry. It depends on the role. It depends on the level. But now talent acquisition is on a different zone.
Yeah, because I mean, in those days, the toughest question you would get at an interview is, what are your weaknesses?
And now with the internet teaching people what to say, then what do you get?
So you must go beyond that, especially if you're employing for the emotional of the leader, then you go beyond just asking these questions. That's interesting. Are we becoming more selfish as a people?
Yes. It's not Ghanaians as a world. We are becoming less connected socially. That's why you find that people are now working towards connecting us back to when we were people, when we didn't have to spend so much time on the screen, when we didn't have, but in those days, I mean, the options were very limited. Now it's limitless. So we need to now draw people away from just being screen addictive to being people conscious. But yes, people are looking out for their own a lot more now.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Is technology to blame?
To blame partly, but as a people as well. So some people are they're being very conscious about inculcating values that would drive people into thinking about the next person. Because in these so-called technologically extremely advanced countries, Jerry, you would leave something at the mall, go back to the lost and found and find it there.
Okay.
In our highly so-called socially friendly environment, that would not happen.
No, we take it away.
Exactly.
I mean, it doesn't belong to you anymore. So long as you left it, that doesn't belong to you.
It means you don't want it.
Yeah, you don't want it.
Yeah, so for me, values are a big deal. Yeah.
Let me find out. Social media.
Yes.
Is that contributing to our lack of emotional intelligence?
Yes, because people want to put up fronts.
Okay.
I want to be seen as such. Am I? People are hiding behind, you don't know who I am. This fake account I have will never lead you to me. That's why in the advanced countries, they have ways of linking accounts to individuals, no matter what you do to hide it. The owners of those platforms are looking for profitability, and the users of those platforms are looking for the anonymity.
Okay.
So everybody is using the others' advantages to their own advantage. And in the end, we are the worst for it.
That's sad.
Yes.
That's sad as a people. We're becoming less human.
Yes.
Which is affecting the way we relate to each other. We need to continue this conversation.
Yes.
We need to bring you back. I'm sure the producer has heard what I just said. We need to bring you back for us to continue this conversation. How to be better people.
Yes.
Any last words for anyone who is listening to us today and thinking, yeah, she has a point, but what do I do from here?
Okay. So what you do is first, we usually are afraid of our own emotions. So I want to encourage people to get in tune with themselves. So know you, know your emotions, and name them. Now then you learn how to manage that. Once you are owning yours and becoming more self-aware, then you can do that of the next person and the next group of people you work with. But if you don't know yourself, don't try to know the next person, because knowing yourself is actually the toughest and the most difficult of the process.
Wow.
Yes. But what I want to assure people is that being emotionally intelligent is such a big game changer now in the place of work, in leadership, and in growing as an individual.
Mami Ikuya Gazy has been talking to us. She is the managing partner of 565. She's been talking emotional intelligence, and I'm sure we've learned so much. Thank you so much, Mami, for coming through.
Thanks, Jerry, for having me.
We'll bring you back. We'll definitely have to bring you back here.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful Monday, Mami.
Enjoy yours.
Thank you. And so this is... Yes, we'll be coming back to wrap up. You know how we do it. The last round. Origin of a name of a place right here in Ghana. We'll come back right after that.
In the heart of Accra, nestled in the vibrant neighborhood of East Legon and New Beacon, a 360 multimedia firm has emerged. Introducing Zed Multimedia. With a steadfast focus on lifestyle, leisure, and business, we set out to bring high-value oriented programs that captivate the taste and desires of our audience. From the captivating airwaves of Zed 101.9 FM to the dynamic visuals of Zed TV and the innovative realms of Zed Digital and the incubation of advanced technological knowledge at Zed Tech, every facet of modern media is meticulously curated to engage and inspire. Also, let's not forget the new Finder newspaper, now under the Zed Multimedia umbrella, delivering insightful journalism with a business focus. Join us on the journey where innovation meets inspiration, where lifestyle meets leisure, and where business thrives. Change is here. Zed Multimedia, your lifestyle, leisure, and business platform.
It. I hope you have as well. We spoke cocoa, we spoke tax and everything within the space, and then also we spoke French. So we ended with Mami Kia talking emotional intelligence. Today, origin of names of places. We're wrapping up this your show, people. But before we go, James VI was born in Scotland in 1566. Then he became King of Scotland in 1567 when his mother, Mary, the Queen of Scots, abdicated her throne. King James VI of Scotland was then crowned King James I of England. Why am I talking all this James thing? Yes, one of King James' first acts was to cement the Church of England as the official religion of England. This is the King James, whose King James Version Bible you read every day. Why is this important to us here in Accra, Ghana, and Zed in the morning? I'm going to tell you why. Because in 1672, the government Chewkankwe leased a plot of land for the site, as a site for a fort. That fort became known as the James Fort, and the surrounding town became known as Jamestown, right there in Accra. So now you know that's how the name Jamestown came about. It came from the same King James whose Bible you read every day. This has been your show, people. My name has been Jerry Ham, and this has been Zed in the morning. Coming up top of the hour 10 is NYA the brand with the brighter side. We'll tell you always, pray like it only depends on God, but work like it only depends on you. We'll do this again tomorrow, people. Have a wonderful Monday.